worried about him. And then after that, he really turned it on because in Game 2, Denver literally was playing for their season. They were not a lock to make this tournament, and the pairwise had they lost Game 2 to CC. So he saves his best for last. Calm, cool, great mental process.
In front of Matt Davis tonight for Denver, Kieran Sebrian centers with Rieger Lorenz on the left wing and Jared Wright, the right winger, to start. Zeev Buyam, who Dave talked about on defense, with Kent Anderson. For Western Michigan, Hampton Slukinski gets the start in goal. Alex Bump, Matteo Costantini, and Owen Michaels, their top line from left to right, starts with Sam Scholand and Jona Väisänen on defense. Moments away from puck drop here at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. It's the Frozen Four. Time now for that opening face-off, sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Need more data so you can stream your Jam Mix on loop? Switch to Straight Talk and get real unlimited data on a reliable 5G network.
And Brian, what's interesting is Denver starts its third line, its grind checking line. They had to put in their lineup first. They knew Western was going to come with Costantini's line, the big line, and they wanted their grinders out against them to get it started. So the chess match prior to puck drop has already begun.
The Blue Bloods and the New Bloods underway from the Frozen Four, our first national semifinal. Denver controls the opening faceoff. Ripped down into the Western Michigan zone to our left. Peeling back behind the goal. Scholand has trouble with that puck. And now it's Alex Bump, the leading scorer for the Broncos, hoisting it through center deep into Denver territory. Costantini barrels behind the goal, supported by Bump. Winds it from low to high. It leaks back out to center and back down into the Western Michigan zone.
Now, Western likes to go low to high. That was a low to high play where there wasn't a defenseman home. It's going to take a couple of shifts, I think, for both of these teams just to get their feet underneath them. Remember, they haven't played in about 10 days.
Now Denver has its top scoring line out there. 54 goals, 154 points on the season for Davis, Thompson, and Devine. Western Michigan in the attacking zone, canceled out between the rings. Denver transitions from right to left, stepping in front. Cole Krusberg-Rosine right in front of Aiden Thompson of Denver. Now it's Western Michigan through center from left to right and pitched in towards Davis, who sticks it out off the backboards. Gunned on, big rebound, a shot! No goal! Davis back across the goal crease. Might have gotten a chunk of that with his stick. I'm not sure how Western Michigan missed the target here just over a minute into the opening period.
Oh, they had two chances to clap it home and didn't get it on either one. I think Davis got both of them, and if he did, it's the save of the century.
Cole Krusberg-Rosine winds it back down into the Denver zone, and the Pioneers rescue the puck. We're scoreless 90 seconds in to the opening period. Denver now gains the attacking zone along the near board. Salmonen goes back to the line, but it's picked off by the Broncos and fed back out to center. D-to-D for Denver there with Zeev Buyam on the ice. One of the three finalists for the Hobie hat trick. Hobie Baker Award goes to the best player in college hockey. Batted away at the Denver blue line is once again Western Michigan marched ahead.
This game early on is a repeat of the Frozen face-off. Western was really good early in that game. They were really good for 40 minutes, actually.
Denver gains the attacking zone to our left. A long shot wide of Slukinski back behind the Western Michigan goal. Battle for the puck there. And protected by Robbie Drasner, the graduate defenseman for the Broncos, who elevated out to center. Leaping through center ice from left to right. Garrett Sidlowski pries it deep into the Denver zone, but he's canceled out behind his goal. Pioneers bank it through center, reeled in at the red line, only as far as the Western Michigan line, but it's stashed back deep. Controlled by Scholand for Western Michigan, back up the boards, picked off by Denver. A shot wide of the goal from the far point. Trampolines back to the near half boards and settled back down by Western Michigan inside its own territory.
Slukinski would love a shot on goal against at this point. Everybody wants to get a puck touch, a physical touch early in the game. Matt Davis certainly had his, and Hampton Slukinski for Western Michigan would love to get a puck touch as well. By the way, that second shot, the rebound that Western Michigan had at a wide open net, puck went off the crossbar. It all started with a turnover in the neutral zone just in front of the Denver bench on the left wing side for Western Michigan. They quickly went 2-on-1 and almost took an early 1-0 lead. And for Western, I think them not chasing the game is probably good, but they're as comfortable playing from behind as they are with the lead. They just play.
No score, just over 2.5 minutes in here to this national semifinal. A redirect between the circles. Nothing there this time for Denver. Denver back to the line, point to point. A cranked shot towards the goal, blocked out front again. Sebrian couldn't reel it in the near circle. Lorenz goes down low, supported by Jared Wright. That was the line that was so critical for Denver last year in that national championship win over Boston College. The team that Denver had to knock out to get back here to the Frozen Four. It's jousted out of play along the near boards, and the faceoff will stay inside Broncos territory. No score, 3 minutes into this opening period.
And Jared Wright, as you just mentioned, it might be one of the faster players on the ice. I mean, he probably is in the top 5. This guy gets so many breakaways. The joke with Jared, we talk about it all the time. If you converted on 50% of your breakaways, you might lead the country in scoring. It is amazing how many one-on goals he winds up with in the course of the game.
Carter King won the face-off for Denver. Booyam at the near point, shakes on free, strides into the near circle, pivots along the near boards for the Pioneers. Booyam goes back to the line, curls now atop the far circle, just toying with the puck back in the blue line. A shot wide of Slukinski. A rebound tries Slukinski to his left, seals the far post off. Centering feet again, flings between the rings. Thompson had his shot blocked down low, and it's hauled out of harm's way by Western Michigan out to center. Banked up the near board by Owen Michaels, deep for Alex Bump. He's the leading scorer for the Broncos. Couldn't hold it at the line, leaks back out to center, then Bump jets in from left to right back into his attacking zone for Western Michigan.
There might not be a more accurate shooter in the nation than Alex Bump of Western.
There's certainly no one that wants to shoot the puck more than Alex Bump. Between the circles, a drive towards the goal. It was blocked out in front of Matt Davis. And once again, it's Denver from right to left. Carter King fails to get the puck deep. Western Michigan D to D at its own line. And Drasner with the lead feed through center. Back in to the Denver zone for the Broncos of Western Michigan. Nothing there. Drasner back up the boards. It's picked off by Sam Harris, the leading goal scorer for Denver. Carried across the attacking line. Nothing there again for the Denver Pioneers.
I actually helped draft Sam Harris when I was a scout for the Canadians. Really nice player who's had a nice career.
23 goals on the year for Sam Harris, the sophomore out of San Diego, California. Good eyes there, Dave. Pretty good pick.
We all get lucky once in a while, right?
4:30 into the opening period, no score. Denver right to left. Harris trying to squeeze back up the near boards, but he's closed off at the half wall. Tied up along the near dasher and finally rescued and pulled out of there by Eero Hakarainen for Western Michigan. He'll spin it down into his attacking zone to our right. Battle for the puck at the far half boards. Time and space at a premium here early in this opening period in the national semifinals. From St. Louis, the Frozen Four between Denver and Western Michigan. This first national semifinal as the Broncos complete a change. Back up the near boards. Kruzberg-Rosine couldn't hold the line for Western Michigan, and it creeps all the way back down into the Broncos zone.
Brian, don't be surprised if Hakarainen winds up scoring a big goal in this game. He's sneaky offensively. He's got a really good offensive stick. Can drive the net, drive through the dot lanes as we get a whistle for an offside on Western Michigan. But he is a player that has really come along this season.
14:53 to go here in the opening period. No score between Denver and Western Michigan. Hockey fans, limited ticket options remain for Saturday's national championship. Visit ncaa.com/Frozen4 to secure your seats. Again, our score, Denver nothing, Western Michigan nothing. From the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, this is the Frozen Four.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives with your gifts. Your heart could keep beating. Your kidneys could keep filtering. And your intestines could keep on digesting for others. And that's not all. You can improve the lives of 50 more people as an eye and tissue donor, restoring sight and health. And you're not just helping out the person receiving the transplant. You're touching whole families with your life-saving gift. Register in minutes. Just go to organdonor.gov. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Sign up today. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
For more than 75 years, the VA Home Loan Benefit has helped millions of eligible veterans and service members achieve their piece of the American dream, a home for their families. Did you know that you could purchase a home or refinance your current home loan with your VA Home Loan Benefit? VA home loans have lower closing costs and generally enjoy lower interest rates than other borrowers. The VA Home Loan may save you thousands of dollars on your mortgage. For more information, visit www.va.gov or talk to a lender of your choice. Choose VA.
Brian Tripp and Dave Starman here at our Grainger broadcast booth in St. Louis. Shireen Sasky is rinkside. Gain a winning edge for your business with Grainger. Get fast delivery of industrial-grade supplies to help keep your operations going when you call 1-800-GRAINGER or click Grainger.com. No score between Denver and Western Michigan. 5:07 into this opening period. Sebrian again out there as you see that game of cat and mouse between the two coaches here. Lost the faceoff for Denver, right back out to center. And then Drasner hammers it down into the Denver zone. Denver quickly clears its end, bouncing puck through center, but grabbed in the neutral zone by Krusberg-Rosine. Fed it back and then miscommunication at the red line. The Broncos able to recover that puck, and Krusberg-Rosine winds it back down into Denver territory to our right. Costantini spins free below the goal line, looks to center for Bump. Now it's Bump taking the pass in the corner, goes low to high, point to point. Krusberg-Rosine fumbled it, then flung it off for Bump as Western Michigan cycles. Bump walks the goal line out of the corner, into the near corner, slings it for Costantini, right back to Bump. Skitters over his stick. Denver now with the puck out of its own territory. The errant exit pass by Carter King, though, down the ice from right to left on this 200 by 85-foot surface for icing the faceoff back down into the Denver zone. Dave, we kind of joked about it at the beginning. Denver, the lower seed technically here, but it does impact matchups by the coaches throughout the game.
Yeah, and there's so much familiarity with the lineup. So one of the things that you're going to see matchup-wise, and Western's going to be able to control a lot of it, is faceoffs in the offensive zone, where they've been really good. But Denver has got a couple of specialists. King, who's taking this faceoff, and Sebrian have taken the most draws for the two of them. King's taken 729 draws this season, 284 of them in a defensive zone, and he is over 50%.
Western Michigan wins this faceoff in the attacking zone into the bumper. A slot shot from the deep slot just wide of the goal by Liam Valente. He's got that ridiculously quick shot fed right back between the rings again by the Broncos, but pulled out of harm's way by Lorenz for Denver, and Denver now gets that change after the icing. 13:45 to play here in the opening period in our first national semifinal here at the Frozen Four. Western Michigan right back on the attack, down to our right, point to point, flubbed at the near point, recovered, and then steered back long by Väisänen, back out to center, rattles around, thrown in, and Western Michigan will make a change.
Western's D has fumbled 3 or 4 pucks at low to high plays early on in this game. Not sure if it's nerves, maybe it's the ice, but it's a little uncommon for their D, who are a little bit better short-handed than this.
Denver into the attacking zone, between the circles, space for Devine, but he has his shot blocked, and now Western Michigan counters. It's a 4-on-4 across the Denver blue line, nothing there in the corner, and Denver now quickly will escape its zone again. And they have their top line out there, rumbling through center far wing. Turning atop the far circle, Aiden Thompson slings it, settled down in near circle, shot rises high and caught the window. The defenseman Cale Ashcroft jumped up, it caromed off the window and back out to center before it's thrown back down into the Western Michigan zone. Held by Slukinski behind the goal, back up the boards, and once again kept by the Pioneers, turned over at the blue line, rescued, batted around there, whacked back to the blue line again, and now it crawls back out to center.
Oh, Denver really close to too many men on the ice.
Zeev Buium for Denver throws it down from right to left into the Western Michigan zone. Broncos in the white sweaters with the brown bottoms harassed inside their own territory. No score. 12:30 to play in the opening period. A long lead feed to the Denver line. Nothing brewing this time, though, for Garrett Sidlowski. Denver quickly goes back the other way. Western Michigan right on that puck and hammers it back down into the attacking end to our right. Quick little exit, one touch back out to center. Nothing there. Thrown back across the Denver line by Owen Michaels, and the Pioneers regroup behind their goal.
Western doing an excellent job not allowing Denver to get middle ice on their exits. We talked about that in the pregame show, and they are doing a great job keeping Denver outside the dot lanes where they can't generate speed and depth.
Denver from its attacking line just throws it in towards goal. Jake Fisher out there. We talked about all 4 lines, part of that 4th line for the Pioneers. Still no official shots on goal. You know what? They're going to credit him with a shot on goal there with the shot from center. Denver with its first shot on goal, and it doesn't come until the 8:04 mark of this first period.
Yeah, you just mentioned Jake Fisher. This is a kid from Western Michigan, 4th line left winger from Woodbury, Minnesota. He's a pick of the Avalanche, and he will have a bigger and bigger role as his career at Western Michigan goes on, but he has been really, really good. Sorry for Denver. He has been really, really good for him this season.
Western Michigan, though, right here out of its own territory, through center, bump into the near circle, bump commits into the slot, lost it, went back to the line, and again, the puck just sneaks out to center. Grabbed by Western Michigan in neutral. Owen Michaels hammers it right back in, but the Broncos changing. Denver right to left out of its own territory, having trouble. Michaels nearly creates the seal, skitters over the stick of bump between the rings, and then back out to neutral through center ice. Western Michigan right back ahead. Say that they like to play a lot of north-south hockey, and we are seeing that here in the early going as it's jousted around inside Denver's zone, and from the near face-off dot, a rocket into the seats and a souvenir for someone in the 3rd row down there. 11:21 to go. Here in the first, no score.
Between the line of Bump, Costantini, Michaels, and then Valente, Slukinski, and Naring, you've got 2 lines that can really come at you with a ton of speed, big bodies, Naring for Western Michigan. He's a younger kid. He's a draft choice of the Winnipeg Jets, and he has a big body that is a ton to handle. Denver's only going to really play 5D. You get a lot of breaks in the Frozen Four in terms of commercial time, so you got time to rest guys. But just keep that in mind. As this game goes on, it could be a little bit of a war of attrition with Denver only playing really 5 defensemen.
Western Michigan with 2 shots on goal. Denver with 1. No score. 11:21 to play here in the opening period. Face-off deep inside the Denver zone. Pioneers win that face-off. They've won 4 of the 7 face-offs so far. Western Michigan right back on the attack. Grant Slukinski, the older brother of the Western Michigan goaltender, carried into the corner, rubbed off the puck there, and once again flicked back out to neutral by the Pioneers. Yona Väisänen tied up, and Aiden Thompson comes away with the steal. Given away back at the blue line. Carter King keeps it inside the Western Michigan zone. Centers between the circles, nothing there. Kept alive for a moment by Denver, and then out to center. Once again, it's Western Michigan right back ahead from left to right. The big-bodied freshman, Zach Nearing, behind the goal, protects the puck, looks to center, skips over a stick, and grabbed by King. King hauls it out to center, lugs it as far as the red line. Western Michigan and Denver each starting changes here as it's flung deep into the Broncos zone.
So we're talking about Denver not being able to take center ice, and Western doing a good job there. Denver's done a great job against Western on their entries and not allowing them to go low-high, so Western can't get their defensemen as involved as they want to be.
Western Michigan going for that home run feed again at the Denver blue line. Get a redirect of the puck, but they redirect it out of play. The faceoff will be in center. 10:21 to go here in the opening period. No score between Denver and Western Michigan in the first of our 2 national semifinals here at the 2025 Frozen Four. Fans, wherever your golf journey is headed, a PGA coach will help get you there. Find your coach at pga.com/coach. Brian Tripp, Dave Starman, and our rinkside reporter Shireen Saski here from the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. No score between Denver and Western Michigan. Western Michigan had a great sequence, a flurry of shots early on Matt Davis. Hit a crossbar. Really the only time either team has been close to scoring so far here as we approach the midway point of this first. Western Michigan right back into the Denver zone again. Seems like we've said that a whole lot. Fed from the near half boards back to the line. Settled by Brian Kramer. One of those transfers added to the Western Michigan roster, kept in the zone, steered back to the goal. Davis covers for Western Michigan, a delayed offside, and they'll have to touch up. Western Michigan has 17 newcomers on this team this year. They're a surprise team in college hockey, but they might have been the best from start to finish here in 2025. They protect out of their own zone again, clear it back out to neutral. Ty Hendricks looking for some space. Nothing there. Denver now from right to left. William with the lead pass up the near boards. Redirected deep into the Western Michigan zone. Fired into the corner. Mato Capone tries to dig it free at the half board, looking for that loose puck again. Gets some help along the far boards. Soccered along by Hagen Burroughs for Denver. Western Michigan controlled back below the goal line. Sharp back up the near boards, wedged it back to the Western Michigan line. It does leak on through center and back down into the Denver zone.
Burroughs and Fisher are 2 freshmen on that 4th line, and both of those kids all season long have just gotten better and better and better, and you'll hear their names a lot more over the next 3 years in their careers as Pioneers.
Fisher settled a long lead pass, but failed to maintain possession into the Western Michigan zone. Heavy hit delivered at center ice, and a delayed penalty coming up on Denver. So the goaltender Slukinski to the bench. Sebrian, the guilty party on the hard hit delivered along the near boards on Matteo Costantini. Right now, Western Michigan just toying with the puck with a vacant net. Pass right back in front of the empty goal, and now it's bumped through center for the Broncos. Gains the Denver zone into the near circle. Dangles down low, tries to stuff it and sneak back inside that near post. Now it's fed back to the line. Point to point, a deep slot shot, a redirect off the side of the goal cage. Bump tries to center from behind the goal. It's finally contacted by the Pioneers, and Western Michigan will get the game's first power play when we come back. No score, 8:26 to go here in the opening period between Western Michigan and Denver. You hear the call, we'll have the power play for the Broncos when we return. You're listening to the Frozen Four on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
The NCAA Men's Final Four. Every whoop, high five, shout, and holler gets your team one step closer to the promised land. Any questions?
Professor, are we ready?
You prepare to open a can of fandom and cheer like you've never done it before? Oh, you're ready. We're cutting down some nets now. The NCAA Men's Final Four, April 4th and 6th, 2026 in Indianapolis. Apply for seats today at ncaa.com/men's final four.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Shireen Sasky back at Enterprise Center. We are scoreless, 8:26 to go in the first. Denver and Western scoreless. A rematch, as we mentioned, of the NCHC Playoff Championship, where Western won in double overtime. Denver dominated the first 2 periods of that game, jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Western didn't flinch, came back in the third very methodically. Goal after goal, they sent it to overtime. In overtime, Denver lost defenseman Boston Buckberger, then in double OT, Alex Bump got the winner. Dave?
Last couple of games that Western Michigan has played, they've opened the scoring on the power play. Their power play has been pretty good as of late. Last 4 games, 3 for 10, 18 minutes of time, and 25 shots.
And on the power play here, 3 of their 4 goals in regionals. In fact, power play goals, a pair of 2-1 wins to get to the Frozen Four. Playing catch-up high. A wind and a bomb by Sholin from the deep slot. And it was blocked between the circles. Western Michigan attacks to her right. Bump throws it down low with a screen out front from Owen Michaels. And Davis out to his right, kicked it away. Slung back atop the near circle, back into the deep slot. Sholin across bump, settles far circle, drags, fire, save. Davis scrambled there, stuff attempt towards the pipe, and Davis made the save with his right toe. Bump's got it again for Western Michigan. Still scoreless here on the power play. Bump into the far circle, pitched it down low. Michaels winds it back along the boards. Racing back towards the blue line. Valente couldn't hold. Denver, Carter King shoved it back out to center. Dumped right back down into the Denver zone to our right. 1:10 left here on the Western Michigan power play. Broncos at center ice regrouping as Alex Bump runs into the linesman at the Denver blue line. Denver scoots the puck back down into the Western Michigan zone. Both teams completing a change. Broncos through center in a scoreless game. The game's first power play. 55 seconds left on this 5-on-4 for Western Michigan here in the first period. A scoreless first period in the national semifinals. Back to the line from low to high. Now walking the line. Back across to the near boards. Viceinen's got it again. Slings it atop the far circle. Slukinski there. Now Vicinen into the deep slot. Wiggles. Shafes just looking for a lane. There's nowhere to go with the puck. Passes it into the far circle. Drasno back. A shot by Vicinen. Scramble down low. Skips to Kramer in the near circle. Slings it back. Vicinen atop the far wing. Slukinski drives it to the goal. Davis makes the save to his right and covers up. Whacking away. Zach Nearing, the big freshman, down low. But Davis to his right, the Denver goaltender, goes glove down to the ice and hugs on to the biscuit. 21 seconds left on the Western Michigan power play. Still no score.
On their first unit, you've got Valente and Bump, who lead the team in power play goals with 8 and 7 respectively. And when it comes to shooting the puck, those two guys have 79 shot attempts between them on the power play. You need the next 5 guys up to get close to that. And Bump on that left side, he's the anti-Ovi. Ovi, Alex Ovechkin, loves to one-time from that side.
Kruzberg-Rosine from the slot had his shot blocked and trigger the rebound shot toward the goal, and another shot thrown towards Davis. He made the save again into the butterfly, made the save on a puck hovering chest level, and he squeezes the puck against his chest, and the Denver goaltender being peppered with shots here on this Western Michigan power play. Still scoreless. 13 seconds left on the Kieran Sebrian boarding minor for Denver. 6:39 to go here in the opening period. Face-off inside the Denver zone. Face-off far circle. Owen Michaels leans in to take the draw for Western Michigan. Lost it to Capone. Denver races out of there with the puck and hammers it down the ice from right to left. And thanks to their goaltender, Matt Davis, it looks like they're going to come up with the PK. Grant Slukinski had an opportunity. brother Hampton Slukinski played the puck on the dump in, and Denver's back to full strength. Still no score here with 6:20 left in the opening period. Western Michigan gains the Denver zone. Now the Pioneers look to counter. Carter King scurries between the circles. He's 1-on-3, and a good back check breaks up his shot attempt. Bump rubbed off the puck back to the line. A wind and a shot that's cranked off the backboards. Rescued by the Pioneers down to the left. Jack Devine, the leading scorer in the country, is tied up in the near corner. A couple of 50-point scores on this Denver team. He's erased quickly. Brian Kramer banks it up the far boards, and it's angled back out to neutral by Western Michigan. Teams 5-on-5, some trouble for the Broncos. They rescue the puck with, again, Aiden Thompson lurking there for Denver. No score, 5:45 to go here in the opening period. And it's the Pioneers patrolling through center, now into the attacking zone. Out wide, back to the line. It's collared in by Polkamp. Polkamp, a very aggressive and a defenseman who loves to shoot the puck, carries into the corner. Nothing there. Bump back along the far board. Polkamp was reaching for it. It comes on free below the far circle. Thompson turns out of the corner. Aiden Thompson wheels back to the blue line. Hands back to the line again. Chugging into the far circle. Zeke Buyum goes down low on the back end. Peels behind the goal. Oh, he's got to watch Buyum. Buyum into the deep slot. He'll cross. Left it off back in the deep slot. A shot to the goal. Wide of Slukinski. He never saw it for Western Michigan with three bodies right in front of his goal crease. And the Broncos clear it down the ice using the glass. They relieve pressure and they'll get a change. There's no icing on the play.
As long as you keep Buyum on his backhand, he's not as dangerous as when he's on his forehand.
Coast to coast, back out front, shot saved by Slukinski deep into the goal crease. He says no on Salmonen, who's right there atop the crease. Stuffed it on, but Denver's one and done. Western Michigan into the attacking zone, lost it up high. Sam Harris now counters from right to left. Scoreless game, 4:40 to go here in the opening period in our first national semifinal. Starting to open up here after the Denver penalty kill. Western Michigan controlling for the moment in its own zone and flung out to center. Somehow, some way, into the attacking zone. A shot by Hendricks. It's fought off by Davis. He had trouble with that puck. He fumbled it to his left, and then he's able to collar it back in and cover up for the Pioneers. The face-off in the Denver zone when we come back. No score with 4:23 to play here in the opening period. You're listening to the Frozen Four on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
With Marriott Bonvoy, take your game day rituals on the road. No matter how you show your team spirit, find a stay for your style when you explore our entire world of hotel brands and experiences. Marriott Bonvoy has a brand for every kind of fan. Marriott Bonvoy, official hotel partner of the NCAA. Explore more at marriottbonvoy.com/NCAA.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds in quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Along with Dave Starman and Jareen Saski, I'm Brian Tripp, and you're listening to the Men's Frozen Four on the Westwood One Radio Network, presented by Marriott Bonvoy. Take your game day rituals on the road with Marriott Bonvoy. Over 30 hotel brands for every kind of fan. Explore more at marriottbonvoy.com/NCAA. No score, face off back down into the Denver zone. And on that Denver penalty kill, Matt Davis, Dave, had to make 6 saves on 6 Western Michigan shots.
Like I said, they shoot the puck 25 shots in their last 4 games on the power play in only 18 minutes of time. And Valente and Bump have never met a shot opportunity they didn't like.
Here is Nearing trying to work it free with Valente out there, along with Slukinski for Western Michigan, nearly held inside the Denver zone. And again, Denver able just to use the glass to clear its zone. Right back ahead, left to right into the attacking zone. Nearing for Western Michigan. Hands below the far circle. Shot towards the goal. Bad angle shot. Davis made the save deep in his goal crease for Denver. Valente is tied up in the near corner. Pioneers use the glass, attempting to clear the zone. Rosine paws it down, reaching high, and then ties it up right at the blue line, still inside Denver territory.
CCR is just one of those big bodies on the western blue line who gets in the way a lot, defends hard. He's got hard skill, but he's more of a defensive guy than an offensive guy. But between his feet and his body, he kills a lot of plays.
You can hear the frustration from the fans and probably the players as well. The puck is still tied up right at the blue line. Finally nearing, excavates the puck, tries to center, bounces right back to him, skips it off into the near circle. Centering feed from Slukinski, but it was canceled out front. Back up the glass, this time out to neutral for Denver. Kruzberg Rosine slaps it right back down diagonally left to right into the Denver zone.
By the way, if you hear me say CCR, that is Kruzberg. I can't even say his name fast enough, so we just went with CCR all season.
Aiden Thompson through center for Denver, lost his stick right in front of the Western Michigan bench at center ice on the far side of the ice. Nothing brewing this time for the Pioneers. It's Western Michigan. Sharp jets through center, accelerates to the Denver line, lost it there, steered right back out to center. Robbie Drasner to the far wing, Alex Bump lobs it in deep to the Denver zone for Western Michigan. Out of the corner, Michael centers, and a drive by Bump, and it's snared by Davis to his right, in and out of his catching mitt, and the right-hand catching mitt of Davis bats it down, and he covers up. He makes another big save for the Pioneers, something we're accustomed to seeing here in the Frozen Four.
So one thing about Alex Bump, he is tremendously accurate. He's a better wrist shot than a slap shot. That was a slap shot. Davis fought it off, and remember, Davis is a backwards goalie, so he catches with the opposite hand. He catches with his right, not his left. But Bump is so good at changing the angle of the shot on his wing, the left side, during the delivery of the shot. That's why he scores so many goals, and it's how he beat Davis twice in the Frozen Face-Off Championship game in St. Paul 3 weeks ago.
Face off inside the Denver zone. A clean win. Schoen from the blue line fired it wide of Davis to his right. Ricocheted off the backboards to the side of the goal, but Denver negates Western Michigan again. Shots are 12-2 in favor of the Broncos, aided by that power play here in the first period, but still scoreless with 2:20 remaining in our first period in this first national semifinal. Wheeled in at center by Western Michigan, shoved back across the Denver line. Nothing this time. And now it's Denver from right to left, scampering up the near wing along the near boards. Uyghur Lawrence in the corner, winds it. And now it's Salmonen back to the line. Batted down and protected by Denver there. Off escape, back out to center, left to right through the neutral zone. Chinkothi to the Denver line, just chips it in deep. He'll peel off and change as the Broncos once again get a fresh group of players out on the ice.
It's that little play by Lemire just to dump a puck in and not risk anything to get a quick change. It helped him, or by Chinkothi, it helped him bump Lemire out of that third line wing spot and earn more ice time.
Both teams fighting the puck a little bit here in this opening period. Salmonen had it set up behind the Western Michigan goal, skipped off his stick. Now Owen Michaels down inside the Denver zone, shot it wide, shot from the blue line, blocked out front, and that skitters back behind the Denver goal. Tangle of bodies behind the net, coming out of harm's way. It's Alex Bump into the slot. He protects on the forehand, turns and fires it wide of Davis, trying to hunt blocker side to his left. Caught the back glass. Denver with the exit pass to center, and Harris squeezes up the near wing. Sharp angle shot, hunting high, blocker missed it short side, and it caroms off the glass and back out to neutral again.
I think Alex Bump could find shooting lanes and shot attempts blindfolded. It's an amazing, unique skill that he has, and his ability to find a lane to get pucks to the net, even in deep traffic.
Denver gets the takeaway at center. Nothing there for Kieran Sebrian. Western Michigan left to right. Chip back down into the Denver zone by Big Zach Murin. Davis peering to his left as Zeev Buyam has the puck for the Pioneers. Leading defensive scorer in the country this year. 48 points. Failed clear. Picked off. And a centering feed off the stick. Reeled back in by Buyam behind the goal for Denver. And now he's going to start out to center.
Remember what I told you? You get Buyam on his backhand. He's not as effective. They got Buyam on his backhand, and he turned the puck over.
Just 25 seconds remain here in a scoreless opening period between Denver and Western Michigan here in our first national semifinal. Penn State and Boston University, the second national semifinal, coming up later on tonight here from the Frozen Four in St. Louis. Final 12 now of this opening period. Long stretch pass, nothing there for Denver. Now Polkut races through center, wiggles into the attacking zone, carries coast to coast, and fires a shot from the far circle into Hampton Slukinski, the goaltender for Western Michigan. It's only the third shot he's faced here in this first, and he makes the easy save to his left, holds on and stops play with 3.5 seconds left here in a scoreless opening period. Just mentioned that Penn State and BU, our second national semifinal tonight. We'll hear from Boston University head coach Jay Pandolfo coming up during our first intermission. Pandolfo back to the Frozen Four for the third straight year as the head coach of the Terriers, made the Frozen Four in all 4 years as a player as well for Boston University. Face off in the far circle inside the Western Michigan zone is tied up and then slammed off the glass as the buzzer sounds to end the first. No score after one between these two teams that are so well versed in each other's games.
I think that Western was able to put its game down a lot faster than Denver was, and I'm not sure Denver has found its game just yet. The line of Thompson, King, and Devine for Denver, which needs to be really, really good. They've been better through the regionals than they were through the last 3, 4, 5 games of the season, but Western did a really good job at making sure that that line didn't impact period number 1. And Western, as usual, winds itself with a good first period and a boatload of shots.
Shots 12-3, Western Michigan after one, in fact. But still scoreless. That's the end of the first period. Coming up during intermission, as we just talked about, Boston University coach Jay Pandolfo will join us. From the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, this is the Frozen Four.
LaShawna spent more than 5 years in foster care.
I was getting older. I didn't think I'd be adopted.
But with help from the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, LaShawna now has a forever family and the foundation for a bright future.
When I was adopted, it was like, wow, this is permanent.
You can help find permanent homes for children still lingering in foster care. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Tom and Levi.
Tom is the smartest man I know. He's been a professor at 2 major universities, been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, he told me that he was having problems in his classes. I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. And he was telling them that he was doing it as a favor to them, but I think in reality, he just wanted to get out of there. I was really starting to worry because I saw something was wrong.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me, and my love for him was just immense.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Frozen Four on Westwood One from the Progressive Insurance Studios. I'm Brad Heller. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com. 20 minutes gone by, no score. Denver and Western Michigan. The first intermission in St. Louis. Shots heavily in favor of the Broncos, 12-3 in that opening 20 minutes. The second semifinal from the Enterprise Center is going to be Boston University making its 25th Frozen Four appearance and third in a row, and Penn State making its very first Frozen Four appearance. The Terriers scored 11 goals in their 2 wins in the Toledo Regional. The last one, though, that was the most important. Quinn Hudson's overtime winner against Cornell in the regional final. BU head coach Jay Pandolfo only knows Frozen Fours as both a player and a coach, and here he is with our Dave Starman.
Amazing streak of 7 opportunities to get to the Frozen Four, and you've gotten there all 7. So you've rolled the lucky 7. That's been terrific. Has there been a wash, rinse, repeat theme to your trips here, whether it be as a player or a coach?
I mean, it's new every year. It's exciting every year. It's a challenge every year. And I've been very fortunate to be part of good teams when I was a player, and I've been fortunate as a coach to have really good players. So it's different every year, but I have an understanding of when you get here how hard it is to finish a job and win this tournament. And, for us, it's, we've come up short the last 2 years. We haven't even made it to the final game. So that's something that we're going to try to get past. We're going to keep trying and keep working at it. And hopefully this year is a little different in that regard.
Coaches are funny because sometimes you never want to watch that last game of the season when you've been eliminated from whatever season you're playing in. Have you gone through those games, and have you found something in each of those games that you wanted to pull out of to take into this year getting back to this spot?
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to watch those games, but I always go back and watch them for sure. You try to learn everything you can. I thought the first year against Minnesota, I thought they were the better team, and I thought they really jumped us early, and we never really could get back in that game. We started playing a little better in the second. So I learned that year that I just thought we kind of got caught up in the moment as a team. Last year versus Denver, I thought we were prepared. I thought we played well for most of the game. Obviously, it came down to one goal in overtime. I thought we got away from our game a little bit as that game went on. We started turning a few pucks over that we weren't turning over in the beginning of that game, and it cost us. And I think learning from that is how the margin of error is so slim this time of year, and you have to understand that as players. There's going to be mistakes that are made. It's just when you make those mistakes, where you make those mistakes, that's how you have to figure out a way to manage the game, and you have to do it shift after shift.
Joking with Western and Denver, we talked about this matchup in the first round, and each of them were kind of like, yeah, we know each other. This is, just kind of game on. For you, it's different. You're not playing a conference opponent. What do you see in Penn State? What do they bring, and what are some of the points of emphasis to your guys going into this game tonight?
Yeah, watching them against two Hockey East teams, they were really fast. Their transition game is really fast. They're great on the rush. So we got to make sure that we're staying above the puck against these guys. Like you turn, that's what we're talking about, turning pucks over. You turn a puck over in bad areas against them, they're gone, and they're good at it. They're comfortable playing that way. So we got to make sure that we're managing the puck in the right areas, making sure we're getting above our checks because they get out of the zone fast.
BU head coach Jay Pandolfo with our Dave Starman. While it is a third straight Frozen Four, the Terriers haven't been to the championship game since 2015. They're the blue blood, Penn State, the new blood. And we're going to have an interview with Nittany Lions head coach Guy Godowski during the second intermission. First intermission, first semifinal, Denver and Western Michigan are scoreless. From the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, this is the Frozen Four.
At Movember, we're best known for the mustache. Well, here's the thing. Men's health deserves support year-round, which is why we're more than a month, more than mustaches. All year round, we're doing more. We're delivering more research, more treatments, doing more to help men live happier, healthier, longer lives. But we need your support, because the more we can do, the more fathers, brothers, partners, sons we can protect. Movember, more than a month. Learn more at Movember.com.
Furnished by Movember.
Meet Bob Minetti.
My wife and I just celebrated 45 memorable years together. She and my daughter Katie are my anchors.
Bob and Wendy spent time fundraising for healthcare causes.
I guess I liked it so much, I decided to become a patient.
In 2016, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
I assumed that there was no hope for people with my diagnosis.
Bob participated in a clinical trial that included cutting-edge radiation therapy and surgery. He's been in remission since completion.
I'm so glad that I learned about what was possible for me.
I'm Keisha Sharp. Since losing my mother to pancreatic cancer, I've been working to ensure that everyone facing this diagnosis knows about the immense progress being made. Stand Up to Cancer and Lust Garden Foundation are working together to make every person diagnosed into a long-term survivor, like Bob. Visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.
Furnished by Stand Up to Cancer.
Alana was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it's cancer. As a parent, when you're told this type of news, you're going to do whatever you can do for your babies. When we got to St. Jude is when I realized that, no, you're not going to get a bill for anything. I don't have to worry about it. They're saying we're going to help save her, and we're not going to charge you anything. This is what we do.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Did you know that most adults with autism are unemployed, and a major hurdle is the lack of job opportunities? Well, that's about to change thanks to a new initiative from Autism Speaks, Lee Container, the J. Donald and Laurel Lee Family Foundation Fund, and Delivering Jobs that seeks to create a more inclusive workforce in the U.S. Lee Container is a family-owned business that has found success by staying true to the golden rule: treat others as you would want to be treated. There are hundreds of thousands of people with autism and people with intellectual intellectual or developmental differences who are ready and willing to work in our communities. Our coalition is committed to hiring an inclusive workforce, providing training for hiring professionals, and providing guidelines for all employees. Together, we can create a workforce where people of all abilities can contribute and thrive. Will you join us? We are inviting other businesses, institutions, and community leaders to join in. To learn more, please visit autismspeaks.org/employment.
Furnished by the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
Michigan through center from left to right and pitched in towards Davis, who sticks it out off the backboards. Gundon, big rebound, a shot! No goal! Davis back across the goal crease. Might have gotten a chunk of that with his stick. I'm not sure how Western Michigan missed the target here just over a minute into the opening period.
Oh, they had two chances to clap it home and didn't get it on either one. I think Davis got both of them, and if he did, it's the save of the century.
It turns out it actually hit the crossbar. Best chance for either side of that opening period. Western Michigan and Denver are scoreless after one. The Frozen Four semifinals. Brad Heller with you in our Westwood One studios. We're going to get you back to the Enterprise Center coming up. Shireen Sasky is going to visit with Denver assistant captain Aiden Thompson. It's been all Broncos so far, 12-3 in terms of shots. Pioneers goalie Matt Davis has made 12 saves so far, basically picking up where he left off last year when he was the Frozen Four most outstanding player. Western Michigan and Denver are scoreless. First intermission. You're listening to the Frozen Four on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
The NCAA Men's Final Four. Every whoop, high five, shout, and holler gets your team one step closer to the promised land. Any questions?
Professor, are we ready?
You prepare to open a can of fandom and cheer like you've never done it before? Oh, you're ready. We're cutting down some nets now. The NCAA Men's Final Four, April 4th and 6th, 2026 in Indianapolis. Apply for seats today at ncaa.com/Men's Final Four.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
The third time that St. Louis has hosted the Frozen Four, no score between Denver looking to defend its championship and Western Michigan after one period of play. Before we start the second period, let's head back ringside where Shireen Sasky is joined by Denver alternate captain Aiden Thompson.
Aiden, we've got the 2 highest scoring teams in the nation, and we're scoreless after 1. How tough has it been out there in the first period?
They outplayed us a little bit. We had a lot of D-zone, so we got to get down to the iron a little bit. Hopefully create some more offense.
How do you do that? You've got 3 shots on goal after 1. How do you increase that in the second?
Probably just be a little smoother in the D-zone. I think we had a few passes that didn't connect and got a little sloppy, and then we ended back up in our zone, so be a little smoother.
What's your message to your teammates as an assistant captain?
We just got to be a little smoother. They're a good team, but so are we, so we just got to pick it up a little bit. We'll be fine.
Thanks, Sadie.
Yeah, thank you.
Brian Tripp and Dave Starman back here in the broadcast booth. Shireen, great stuff as always. 3 shots in that first period that Shireen mentioned for Denver, and that's after just 2 shots in the third period of their regional championship win, hanging on against Boston College, the team they defeated last year for the national title. So only 5 shots over their last 2 periods.
They can be streaky. Like, here's the thing. They can also get on a run where they'll outshoot their opposition like 13-1. Like, it's just they're a funny team that way, but Denver's just methodical. They don't panic. They don't waste a lot of energy and effort, and that's why they've been successful all year long. So they don't need volume. They just need opportunities, which I think they'll create a little bit more of as this goes along.
How did you feel about the opportunities Western Michigan was able to create, even though they weren't able to cash in?
Western, I thought, played to their identity, and the 6 shots in the power play was very typical of a lot of what they do, and they gained a lot of momentum coming out of it. I think early on, their defensemen had a big case of the yips. I think they were worried about those low-to-high plays with them not corralling it cleanly and worried about Denver striking on counters because Denver's transition game is pretty good. I think now it's going to be a little bit different because they felt pucks on sticks. They've got their feet underneath them. So I hate to say Western's going to start to settle in, but they're going to start to settle in.
It's time now for the start of the second period, sponsored by the 2027 X15 engine from Cummins. Featuring better fuel efficiency, immense power, and backed by 25-plus years of experience, the 2027 X15 is built to rise above the challenges of tomorrow. The X15, forever rising. Western Michigan, one of the best teams in college hockey this year, in second periods, outscoring opponents 57-21. We talked about it yesterday with the players, the coaching staff, is because of their style of play. A team that wants to get north-south against the opponent certainly did that in the first period. Can they duplicate that here in the second? Still scoreless, though, between Denver and Western Michigan in our first national semifinal. Second period underway with the Pioneers controlling the opening faceoff.
And Brian, I'll tell you in a second.
Here is Michael picking the pass off at center. Then Buck fires from the slot. Save made by Davis, and his mask pops off on the play. And that draws the immediate whistle as his mask becomes dislodged. An immediate whistle with the rebound sitting right out front for Bump. And a great opportunity again for Alex Bump. Just 11 seconds into the second.
So you referenced the goal total, and what Western's really good at is setting the next line up for success. So with their possession base and their grind, their shift management in period 2 is really good. They shorten shifts up. So when they pin a team in, they get a quick change. So now you can go about a minute 15, a minute 20 in the offensive zone with possession against a line that gets stuck out there. It's been the number one reason why they have been so good in second periods. I think that margin that we talked about with goals for to goals against in period number 2, it's either number 1 or number 2 in the country in terms of the split.
Western Michigan with the best record in the country this year, the most wins of any team in the NCAA, 32 wins, just 7 losses, and only 4 of those 7 losses coming in regulation. In fact, all of their losses, if you exclude empty netters, by just 1 goal. Denver wins the faceoff, though, and races out to center in their crimson sweaters and chips it down into Western Michigan territory to our right. Along the near board, batted back up the dasher and kicked out to center by Alex Bump. Tries to wedge it across the Denver line, gets stuck in the feet of the Denver defenseman, Kent Anderson, and then thrown down into the Denver zone to our left. Western Michigan makes the change. Pioneers try to catch them, changing with a long lead pass down, and it's down wide of the goal. It's an icing on Denver, and the faceoff back into the Pioneer zone. 37 seconds into the second, still no score. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, your home for the national championships. Western Michigan and Denver scoreless here. 37 seconds into the second period in our first national semifinal tonight. Western Michigan with a grade A scoring opportunity just seconds into this second, but Matt Davis has been tremendous again in goal here for Denver in the Frozen Four. 13 saves, on 13 shots. Now it's the Pioneers trekking through center, far wing into the attacking zone. Aiden Thompson protects on the back end. Cycles for Jack Devine. Back to Thompson at the blue line. Picked off there by Liam Valente out of harm's way for Western Michigan. Gains the attacking zone for his Broncos down to our left there in the white sweaters as the lone number one seed here at the Frozen Four. Puck batted up the far boards but played down with a high stick, so another whistle to stop play. 1:07 into the second, still scoreless.
You talk about grade A chances. Against Minnesota State, Western outchanced them 23-15. They had 11 grade A's in the game. Against Denver in that Frozen Face-Off championship game, they outchanced them 21-11. Now here's what's interesting. Western, their last 24 games, their expected goals for, they've won that battle. They've only been on the short side of that 6 times all year. All 3 were to Denver. Or all 3 games against Denver.
Comes free in the slot here, and a shot high of the goal by Robbie Drasner. The entire game's been played inside Denver's zone. Along the far boards, Hakarainen shakes free, tries to pivot, looks, slings it backdoor off the stick. It flutters high into the air and ramps out of play again. It was set up backdoor for Zach Sharp, the defenseman, who jumped in from the line, but it's deflected out of play. Face off in the Pioneer zone. 1:31 into this second, still no score. Download the all-new Westwood One Sports app and catch every remaining minute of the 2025 Frozen Four. And be sure to keep the app on your mobile device year-round as we bring you prime-time NFL action next fall. Get the Westwood One Sports app today for iOS and Android.
Zach Sharp is a big-time defenseman for Western Michigan. He's probably their best skating defenseman, and all 6 can really go.
He's out there right now with Robbie Drasner. Denver through center from left to right. Nothing there at the red line. Again, Western Michigan steps up at the red line, and it is the aforementioned Sharp who picks the puck up and dumps it back down into Pioneer territory. Battle for the puck in the far corner, tied up along the dasher deep inside the Denver zone. Extracted by Western Michigan. Back to the line. Drasner shakes, slings it Sharp near point. He'll just throw it back down low. That rings into the far corner again. Ty Henricks on the puck. Henricks tied up there, sneaks back up the boards. Denver controls, and an errant exit pass is grabbed by Western Michigan at center, and Sam Scholand drills it right back down behind the Denver goal. Matt Davis, the goaltender, comes out to play. Turned over at the blue line, kept alive between the circles. Turning, waiting, Costantini back to bump, centers for Michaels, driving the net, skips through his legs aside the goal cage. Back to the line, Scholand off to the far point. Vicenen winds it down low for Western Michigan. Still scoreless, 2:30 into the second here in the national semifinals at the Frozen Four. Michaels angled it down low. Now, walking out front, a shot, Costantini. Davis made the save, hugging the near post, out to his right, and then a penalty behind play. Alex Bump goes into Zeev Buyam hard. Buyam on the ice without his stick, and the first penalty of the game against Western Michigan, and maybe a frustration penalty here for the Broncos, who just can't solve Matt Davis.
Western Michigan number 20. Minor penalty, slashing.
So it's Alex Bump for slashing, and it comes 2:40 into the second period, a period that had been dominated by Western Michigan.
It's a great call. I mean, Bump just came over the top of Williams' stick behind the net on the chase for a loose puck. Offensive zone penalties have a way of coming back to kick you in the shorts. Let's see what happens here. Denver has had his ears pinned back, and now Western Michigan has opened the door for him. Denver's power play can be lethal at times.
29%, third best nationally on the year, in fact, and the Pioneers win the faceoff. They attack to a right and set up immediately, walking into the far circle. Back to Buyam in the deep slot. Buyam to Carter King now. King into the far circle. One touch, Buyam atop the far circle. Returns back down low. Thrown into the slot again. Skips to King. Angled to Buyam, who passes it into the near circle. And along the boards for Aiden Thompson. Goes back to Buyam, who quarterbacks the power play. Now it's Thompson taking the feed. Into the near circle. King, one-time shot, and Hampton Slukinski across from right to left makes the butterfly save for Western Michigan and pounces on the puck as it's just leaking off to his left, and he'll stop play. 1:34 remains here on the Alex Bump slashing minor for Western Michigan. Denver with the attacking zone faceoff, looking to break a scoreless tie. Faceoff near circle. Tim Washi, who's so good in so many areas, but especially on faceoffs, takes the draw for Western Michigan. Opposite Carter King of Denver, who's been on this big stage before. Part of that senior class looking to lead Denver as play is halted here back behind play, and they're going to bring the face-off out. The net came off the moorings. King, a part of that senior class himself, Devine, Capone, and Davis. 4 players who are looking to make it 3 national championships, a senior class that is not shy talking about history.
Jack Devine was kind of unique, and he's talked about it to me before. He said, you're walking around the hallway at Magnus, and you see all these great players. Now, granted, a lot of those great players didn't get to their senior year. But he said it's really interesting when you take a look at some of the legends on these walls that have played here and gone on to great success in the NHL. I think we were the winningest senior class. Like Troy Terry didn't get there. Paul Stastny didn't get there. Will Butcher didn't get there. But this senior class certainly did.
And the great teams back in the 50s and 60s for many collegiate hockey programs. Freshmen at that time weren't allowed to play. 1:20 left here on the Denver power play. No score. 16:35 to play here in the second period. Good entry by the Pioneers. Harris atop the near circle, drags into the slot, whistles one towards the goal, and it's snatched by Slukinski, the netminder for Western Michigan, across the crease from right to left. A shot that was ticketed maybe just a little wide, but Slukinski's going to grab it and hang on.
On the Denver power play, Aiden Thompson is the guy that they really want to shoot. He's a left-handed shot. He plays in the right wing circle. His one-timer is money. And Western's done a really good job eliminating him. It's a two-headed monster between Thompson on his off wing on the right side and Bouillon up top, who can take advantage of space.
Bouillon quarterbacks again, finds Thompson working it along the near boards, attacking to our right. Thompson goes back to Bouillon near point. Bouillon into the deep slot on the pass. 1 minute left on the power play. Settled far circle, shot, block, skips right back. Bouillon settles at the blue line. Bouillon darts into the far circle. Bouillon throws it through the net mouth, looking for Harris. Harris has a team-high 11 power play goals for the Pioneers. They continue to cycle, looking to break a scoreless tie on the power play. Bouillon deep slot, hands into the near circle. Surveying King into the slot, batted around, still loose. Who's going to get it? It's Denver. And Jack Devine tries to wiggle free, then he's hit in the corner. Down he goes, and Western Michigan gets the clear.
Third time that Denver has tried to set up that play to that right wing side that we said for Thompson, but Thompson had rotated out of it, and the pass wound up to King, and King is not the same threat on the power play from that area that Thompson is.
Western Michigan has one of the most prolific PKs in the country. They're seconds away, is into the attacking zone, zipping in. Thompson got towards the goal, but he missed the target on the shot. William kept it at the near point again. They've kept the same five out there for the entirety of this power play. Not much to show for it here yet. Western Michigan now just 3 seconds away from a kill, and they get the clear, and the Broncos are back at full strength.
And to me, not a power play where they generated a ton of momentum on, because the couple of bread and butters that they really wanted to set up, whether it be a deep dive by Bouillon or a one-timer by Thompson, nothing materialized from it.
Polkamp carries back across the Western Michigan line for Denver and swatted back out to center. Race for the puck back down into the Denver zone. That will cross the goal line. It's up the near boards for an icing. 4:58 into the second. No score. Denver unsuccessful on 4 shots on the power play.
Denver's playing without Boston Buckberger, so they're really playing 5D. And one of the things that it does, it allows Zeke Bouillon to play more. Now, Bouillon will be on the ice all game. Polkamp will be on the ice all game. One of the two of them is out there every shift against Western Michigan, and they're spotting in 2 outside of Anderson, who generally plays with Bouillon. But Bouillon could play 29 minutes tonight, if not more, with all the timeouts in period.
Right now it's Polkamp with Garrett Brown. Face off 1 to Polkamp, who scurries up the far boards, attacking to our right, goes back to the line, now carried into that far circle. Denver on the attack here, looking to break a scoreless tie. Brown from the near point, off the stick, deflected by Bump. Back out through center, back down to his attacking line, and now Western Michigan gets the turnover and steers it in deep to the Denver zone from right to left. Grant Slukinski barrels in on the forecheck. Denver, the lead feed far wing, looking for that home run pass again. It's off target. Hampton Slukinski comes out to play at the goaltender for Western Michigan. Thrown back up the boards and kept alive inside the Western Michigan zone. And then holding penalties coming up behind the Western Michigan goal. And Western Michigan now will go back onto the power play. Samu Salmonen grabbed a hold of one of the Broncos behind the net, and when we come back,
11, 2 minutes holding.
Western Michigan will have a power play opportunity, looking to break the seal in this one. No score, 14:28 to go. Here in the second period from the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, this is the Frozen Four.
The strength of America, our values, our way of life hasn't just been won on the battlefield. It's won every day in our communities when we come together, extending hands of compassion, service, and hope to those who need it most. For over 100 years, the American Legion has been strengthening communities across our nation by providing life-saving help and support to our veterans and neighbors during times like we're facing today. It's what the Legion's all about. From blood drives to distributing food, From responding to emergencies and protecting the most vulnerable among us, our mission is making America's communities stronger.
We are one family, and therefore, we care.
We are the American Legion, veterans strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
Before I was adopted, I felt like my life was already over.
My biggest fear was that I would age out and not know how to be sufficient on my own.
At a certain age, like they don't want you, you're troubled and stuff.
The clock is ticking for the more than 125,000 kids waiting to be adopted from foster care. Help the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption prevent them from aging out without a permanent family. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
Fourth meeting of the year between NCHC foes Denver and Western Michigan. Scoreless with 14:28 to play here in the second period. But this Hockey East officiating crew, Jeremy Tufts and Jeff Miller, sending the Broncos back onto the power play for the second time tonight.
And the funny thing is both coaches thought that the Hockey East guys were going to let them play a little bit. This is a big-time power play. And once again, Bump and Valente are scary on opposite flanks. Both of them left shots. Valente on the off wing. And these guys do a ton of damage, and they generate a lot of momentum.
Denver wins the face-off and gets the clear, though. Remember, it was Western Michigan's power play anchoring them in their regional victories. A 2-1 double overtime win against Minnesota State and a 2-1 win against UMass to get to this Frozen Four, their first ever Frozen Four appearance. Denver again clears its zone. Western Michigan regroups at center, now churning the legs and gaining the attacking zone. Costantini to Bump, slides to the top of the far circle, Valente into the deep slot, passes it to Sholin, back to the line, hands Bump atop the near circle, Bump twists it back, Sholin across Valente, one-time shot, it is blocked by Ken Anderson and hammered up and into the Denver bench. Denver going for the clear from inside its own territory, shot it into its bench, so Western Michigan will have the attacking zone face-off here. Scoreless, 13:47 to play in the second, 1:19 left on the Salmon in holding penalty.
Ken Anderson with a big shot block. He was a third pairing D, a grinder last year, and this year elevated to the top pair. He won the audition to be the counterpoint with Zeev Buium on their top pair.
And it's the sixth shot blocked already by the Pioneers tonight. They only average 10 shots a game, getting to this point this year. Clean win, back into the deep slot, again a shot! Score! Power play goal, Brian Kramer lights the lamp and lights the fuse. The first goal here at the 2025 Frozen Four. 1-0 Western Michigan with 13:44 to play on a power play snipe.
I talked to you earlier in the game, offensive zone penalties tend to come back and kick you in the shorts, and it was an offensive zone holding call on Denver that got Western Michigan back on the power play, and it was a clean one off the draw. And what worried me when Kramer got the puck was that he waited too long. He got the puck on his offside, so the puck was more towards the middle, which allowed Denver to react to it better. He waited for a second, and I think he probably was just waiting for the lane to develop. Once it did, he went across the body of Davis for a 1-0 lead.
Only the second goal of the year for Kramer, the graduate student defenseman who played 1 year at Robert Morris, his hometown team, and then 3 years at AIC. Western Michigan a 3-on-2, back into the attacking zone. Pass off target for Tim Washi, who tracks it down behind the goal, attempts to center for Shingothi, but Denver detects it. Back to the line, it's Kramer again with a shot into the chest of Davis standing up. This time he makes the save and pins it across against his chest on that block. Denver in gold on the chest. 13:19 to play in the second, and Western Michigan has a 1-0 lead. As I said, just the second this year for Kramer, but it is his 21st career goal. Had a ton of success playing 4 years in Atlantic hockey.
Oh, here's a good one to tie it all up. Kramer played at Robert Morris. Robert Morris's head coach played at Western Michigan and is from St. Louis. How do you like that little tie-up?
That is well done. So was the face-off win by Tim Washi, who dominates on draws. That's the only assist. The clean face-off win from Washi to Kramer, who was waiting for it in the slot. And the shot, by the way, high glove on the right-hand catching mitt of the goaltender, Matt Davis.
Washi is 63% on face-offs this season. He was 10 of 21 against Denver in the frozen face-off.
And he has led his conference the last 3 years in faceoff wins. Same again this year at better than 62%. Denver dumps it out of play from inside its own zone. And now Western Michigan is playing with the lead here in their first ever Frozen Four.
Yeah, like I said, they're built to play anyway. They remind me of Notre Dame about a decade ago under Jeff Jackson, where they go right to the last second down a goal and it was okay. When you're not chasing big games, it's easier, but they're comfy there.
Henrich off another clean faceoff win, had his initial shot blocked, stashed it back down low, wide of the Denver goal.
By the way, watching 7 and 2 on draws today.
Once again, just continues to dominate on faceoffs. Western Michigan as a team outdueling Denver 16-13 here in the hockey game, and out shooting the Pioneers 16-5, and back on the attack from right to left. Chipped in deep, Henrichs behind the goal. Ty Henrichs, that fourth line out there, goes back atop the first circle, and shot off a stick out front. The loose and the rebound was right there for Cam Knuble, but it skipped off his stick as he attempted to tuck a backhander past Davis's right pad. The Denver goaltender has just been peppered with shots here in this hockey game.
Western Michigan's fourth line is like a steamroller. It goes wherever it wants.
And a sharp angle shot as Denver had one man break behind the defense. And it was Sam Harris, and sliding to his right, Hampton Slukinski made the save for Western Michigan. Then Harris with his pass back to the blue line, picked off by the Broncos. Into the attacking zone, up the far board. Valente turns back along the far wall. The junior forward goes down low, looking for Zach Nearing, who does his best work below the goal line. Nothing there this time. Denver left to right, out through center. James Reeder far away, uses the far boards. Chips it deep into the Western Michigan zone. Then he burrows in towards the end boards. Bisonen protects, though, for Western Michigan, and the defenseman lugs it out to neutral from his own line and now across the Denver line. Going all the way below the near circle. Threw it out front. Scramble there. Grant Slukinski. The forward was set up atop the goal crease, but good defense in front of the goal by Kent Anderson. Soccered right back down into the Denver zone. 1-0 Western Michigan on the power play goal from Brian Kramer. Tim Washy, the only assist at 6:16 of this second period. Alex Bump into the attacking zone for Western Michigan. Threw it between the circles. Karam's back to him along the near boards. Peels back to the blue line. His defenseman changing. Threw it down low. A redirect from behind the goal. Looking for that bank. Nothing there for Costantini of Western Michigan. Bump creates the steal at center. Got the drop feed atop the near circle. Left it. Costantini a shot. And a save made by Davis to his right. Thrown back on. Stuff attempt. Scramble. Western Michigan celebrating. Davis has the puck. There's no goal. He sprawls down and covers up as he seals off the near post. Another great save by Davis.
They might go take a look at this one because something bulged behind the net. I'm not sure if it was the goalie's skate or whether the puck snuck through or not. I have a funny feeling that this might get looked at. It was a really good play to the front of the net as the big line does the damage. The puck goes to the front of the net. It was loose in the crease. Davis covered it with his hand. I don't think it went in. But they are going to go take a look at it. But it all started with Alex Bump in the neutral zone. Now, Bump may not be dominating this game offensively like he has in other games, but he is dominating it defensively. He has been so proactive at jumping routes and picking off passes, and that whole line has been really good between Bump, Costantini, and Michaels. Great on the rush, generating chances, but really good in terms of picking pucks up in the neutral zone, jumping routes, and shrinking the rink.
And that time with Costantini and Bump out there, it was Wyatt Shingothi whacking away at the puck, and Davis sliding back as we get a look at the replay here, Dave. Sliding back, and then he uses his stick and glove with the rest of his body in the net. He uses his stick and glove to hold it right on that goal line and out of the goal cage. Remember, the entire puck has to cross the line.
After review, the call on the ice stands. We have no goal.
Now, you got to remember one thing, and here's the important crux of this issue on that replay. You cannot push the puck under the goalie into the net. So if the puck's underneath the goaltender and you push the goalie into the net, it's no goal. That's automatic. So just you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at that kind of replay. Was that the case? And there was contact with Davis in front of the net, which moved him backwards. If that was the case, even if the puck had gone over the line clearly, it's still no goal because you can't score that way.
Western Michigan looks anything but a team making its first ever Frozen Four appearance right now. Taking it to Denver, but only leading the game 1-0 on the Kramer power play goal here in the second. Shots are 19-6 in favor of the Broncos. 1 for 2 on the power play tonight. And of course, that power play goal, the only tally here in the hockey game. Our first national semifinal. You have Boston University and Penn State, the second national semifinal later. Chingothi into the attacking zone again. Got the pass across the blue line, dragged atop the far circle, wheeled out wide, and then released a wrist shot to the goal that hits Davis in his chest, and he hangs on to it for the Pioneers. If you can't get to a radio to hear our broadcast of the 2025 Frozen Four, you can still listen for free. Just download the Varsity Network app on your mobile device. You can also hear the games on Alexa-enabled devices and online too at our website, westwoodonesports.com. Face off in the Denver zone to Davis's left. Again, his blocker side. The superb senior goaltender who was the most outstanding player of the 2024 Frozen Four. Turnaround shot by Nearing, skips across, and then Lukinski threw it back out front, but it was blocked away by the Pioneers. Now it's Valente with a left-handed shot. Davis peeking behind him. He made the save. It's between his pads. He leaned back to his left. It was a knuckling shot from Valente from the near face-off circle for Western Michigan, but Davis squeezes the two legs together, made the save, and holds it out. 10:42 to play here in the second. 1-0 Broncos.
Denver's playing with fire. They really are. They have been so sloppy with the puck between the dots in their own zone, turning it over a lot. They're allowing Western Michigan to play a half-court game is really what they are. They're not forcing Western to go 200 feet. And a team like Western Michigan, with its firepower, if it only has to go 100 feet, makes your life really hard.
Western Michigan wins another face-off shot. Davis snatches it again. Valente just turning out wide. Another player with that quick left-handed release who loves to shoot the puck. And Davis holds on. That's Davis's 22nd save already here tonight, as we're 39 seconds shy of the midway point of the hockey game. He made 46 saves, remember, against Western Michigan the last time these two teams played. Western Michigan had the big comeback that Shireen talked about earlier in the NCHC Frozen Face-Off Championship game played in St. Paul.
Remember, that game went 2 overtime. Well, actually, it went 1 overtime in 20 seconds, but there was a little extra time.
Well, 2 of the 3 meetings between these two foes went to overtime this year. All 1-goal games between Denver and Western Michigan. Denver actually flipped the script there in that NCHC title game. They were the team playing catch-up all year against Western Michigan. They were up big in that game. Western Michigan had the big comeback, and it will have to be the Pioneers coming from behind here tonight, back in the Frozen Four, trying to defend their 10th national championship a year ago. Western Michigan out of its own zone, right to left, out to center, Nearing. 10:15 to play. Looks for Grant Slukinski, deflects it deep into the Denver zone. Pioneers have the puck. Flung out to center, down the ice, off target, and the Pioneers are out of sorts. This is very unfamiliar to see right here in the Frozen Four. It's icing on Denver. 10:09 to go here in the second. Face-off back into the Pioneer zone.
So the question becomes, does Denver look more out of sync now in this game or against Minnesota State in the 2022 national title game, where they generated nothing for 2 periods and then scored 5 in the third? But that's what I mean. Like, Denver's one of those teams that can just manage a game well. So, yeah, it's not going well for them, but they're such a veteran team that they're okay with it. They just got to find something to start believing in.
Well, especially with the goaltending they're getting from Matt Davis, keeping them in this game. They're fortunate only to be down 1-0 on the Kramer power play goal for the Broncos. Carter King goes down low for Denver, but no one's home. Slowed down by Hampton Slukinski, who's barely had to play the puck for Western Michigan. Western Michigan catch behind its goal. Long lead pass to the Denver line, batted in with a backhand, and controlled by Brown, the defenseman for Denver. Out there with Zeev Buyam right now, who's been relatively quiet here tonight. Again, controlled by Ty Hendricks of Western Michigan. A chip, and his team will make a 5-man change. Denver out of its own zone, left to right, 9:30 to play here in the middle period of this national semifinal. Alex Bump shakes his way through center, lost the puck, and he does guide it into the Denver zone. Michaels comes up with it, shot, Davis the save, the rebound there. No follow-up try, and then up the near boards. Sam Scholin, the defenseman, jumps up. He had his shot blocked, and Denver clears. Michaels again, jets right back into the Denver zone, accelerates far boards, snaps a shot wide of Davis, deep in that Denver goal, peeking side to side. Vicenen races over, unable to hold at the line, and Denver comes out to center with the puck. Jack Devine, the nation's leading scorer, centers between the circles, Thompson a drive, missed the target, he was all alone, and now Western Michigan looks to counter. Back into the attacking zone, Tim Washi is canceled out along the near boards by Eric Polkamp, and another long home run pass to Devine, skipped over his stick, hammered back out to neutral, and here comes Western Michigan into the Denver zone up the near wing. Turning along the near boards, it's Bump on the forehand, steers it off along the dasher. Drasner in the corner. Works free, make that Kramer, who goes back down low, skips off the stick and pinned at the end boards by Washi. Trouble with the puck there for a moment. Goal cage tipping into Davis, but it stays on the moorings. And Denver a 3-on-2. Bank feed across the attacking line. Into the near circle. A shot. Lukinski made the save to his left. Out to his left. He made the save. Really just untested tonight, but a big stop there as Jared Wright sprung free and shot it from the near circle into the chest of the goaltender, who holds on and stops play. 1-0 Western Michigan, 8:17 to go in the second. You're listening to the Frozen Four on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
The NCAA Men's Final Four. Every whoop, high five, shout, and holler gets your team one step closer to the promised land. Any questions?
Professor, are we ready?
You prepare to open a can of fandom and cheer like you've never done it before? Oh, you're ready. We're cutting down some nets now. The NCAA Men's Final Four, April 4th and 6th, 2026 in Indianapolis. Apply for seats today at ncaa.com/Men's Final Four.
Shireen Saski with you from Enterprise Center. 1-0 Western Michigan with the lead thanks to Brian Kramer's power play goal here in the second. Captain Washi got the assist on that goal, the only assist. He has had a tremendous season for the Broncos. Pat Ferschweiler, the head coach at Western Michigan, cannot say enough about his captain. He said he's seen so much growth over the years in Washi, and that on and off the ice, he has been impressive. He is hyper-competitive, and that got him into penalty trouble early on in the last few seasons. This year, they focused on that, and it showed up in his point total. Dave?
You know, Shireen, one of the things about Washi that has been really well respected by the players in the room and by the coaching staff is his aura of inclusion and bringing the younger players in and the new players in. As soon as I got to campus this year during the summer, he loves to cook, had everybody over at his house, a lot of gatherings. And what Pat Ferschweiler said to me was he made players comfortable quickness, and that comfort breeds success. So Washi got it real early, and that spread throughout the team and helped build early chemistry with 17 new faces on the roster.
And players on this Western Michigan team have talked about how important his voice is, not just the coach's voice in the locker room, but a guy like Washi. Great stuff, Shireen. Great stuff, Dave. 1-0 Western Michigan. 8:17 to go in the second period. It's been all Broncos here in this national semifinal. Western Michigan wins the face-off out of its own zone from right to left. Valente into the attacking zone, but handed at that blue line. A little trail pass for Grant Slukinski, and it results in an offside. He was just shy of the blue stripe. PGA Junior League brings friends, families, and communities together through golf. Find your team and sign up today at PGAJuniorLeague.com.
You know, Matt Davis told us yesterday that this year at the regionals it was unique because they played with a margin of error that they weren't really used to. They had a couple of goal leads in each game. For Denver, it's been nip and tuck over the last few years through the regionals and even into the Frozen Four. This year, the margin of error, I would tell you this, right now, their margin of error is really slim. But they did stack two good shifts together, so something to keep an eye on as Denver is starting to find its groove.
Cole Krusberg-Rosine takes the puck from behind his goal for Western Michigan. Broncos through center with speed. Pass back to line. Slukinski goes back door and settled down there. Peeking Valente. Surveys and then slung it through the goal crease and back out to center.
If we weren't 4 miles above the rink, I would tell you that he probably had a tough time corralling that on his stick and getting it to settle and didn't want to waste the shot.
Another 2-on-1. Shot into Davis, and he makes the save out to his right on Cam Knuble, the son of longtime NHLer Mike Knuble, who skated into the near circle. Another member of that leadership team for Western Michigan, and he just can't add to that 1-0 lead because Davis has been exceptional in goal for the Pioneers. 7:34 to go here in the second.
The key for Davis is he hasn't given up a lot of rebounds. Like that to me has been the big difference in the success that he has had on the bigger stage versus maybe some of the games of lesser importance where he's popped a few back out and caused himself some trouble. But when the biggest games are out there, his details are unquestionably great.
And his team wins the face-off to his right this time. Again, Davis came in 6-0 in NCAA tournament games with a 0.74 goals against average and .976 save percentage.
That's Jacques Plante numbers.
It is. I mean, it's numbers you may never see again. That's how good he has been in the postseason for Denver. He's been tested here tonight. 24 saves on 25 shots. And now Western Michigan right on the attack again. Backhand attempt trying to stuff it in. Garrett Sidlowski skips off the goaltender and back out to neutral. Pioneers from left to right. right in those crimson sweaters. Denver blocked on the front in gold. Gold numerals on the back. Crimson buckets and crimson bottoms. But again, just Denver, no room to work inside the offensive zone. Western Michigan with a long exit feed through center. Pinballs around there. Severian tucks it near wing into the attacking zone. Pivoting along the near board, Rieger Lawrence goes down low for Jared Wright. Out of his reach. Shingothi back up the boards. Lawrence keeps it alive, though, for Denver back at the blue line. Goes down low, off target for Severian. Trouble in the far corner for Robbie Drasner, the graduate defenseman. Sharp supports him there. Western Michigan comes up with the puck. Washi ties it up. He was tied up, and now the Broncos have some time and space to move it out to center. As far as the red line, it's knife deep into the Denver zone with 6:20 to play here in the second period. And Western Michigan's forecheck goes for it. Heavy collision behind play. It's Zeke Buyam down for Denver. He's slow to his feet. He's been neutralized for the most part here in this game. He's still a little shaky as he stays on the ice, and the puck goes into the Western Michigan bench. Face off into the Denver zone. 1-0 Western Michigan, 6:07 to go in the second. But all eyes, not only here in this arena, but in the hockey world, looking at Zeev Buyam, the first-round 12th overall pick of the Minnesota Wild.
Aaron Liu is the longtime medical trainer for the University of Denver. He's behind Buyam, but not really paying attention to him. I'm guessing Buyam just said it got jammed against the wall, and he may just need a little blood flow through it. Now Liu's leaning over just to get a little bit of a checkup, but losing Buyam with no Buckberger, that could be a tall order.
Boston Buckberger hurt in the NCHC tournament. A pivotal defenseman for Denver, was the Elite 90 award winner. That goes to the player with the best GPA of any of the Frozen Four teams, and it was a skate-on-skate collision with Wyatt Shingothi. That ankle just trapped down along the dasher. Now Western Michigan back into the attacking zone, leading it 1-0. Owen Michael skates and protects the puck far circle. Back to the line. Krosberg-Racine hammers one to the goal. Blocker saved by Davis to his left for Denver. Western Michigan 3-on-2 and a shot. Score! Oh, what a rocket! Owen Michaels! 2-0 Western Michigan, 5:26 to play. Owen Michaels is mobbed on his bench. Michaels takes advantage of the turnover. His 15th of the year gives the Broncos a 2-0 lead.
It's another situation where Denver turns the puck over and Western just attacks quick and finds Pater. Michaels has been probing Davis all game long. He has been more on his side of the ice. This time he's on the off side of the ice. But he has just been probing and probing to find a spot on Davis where he wants to put the puck. And as he picked up the puck on the half wall, he went to the glove side again across the body of Davis. Davis holds the stick with his left, catches with his right, and Michaels on his wing puts the puck across the body, much like Bump does a ton. And Western has found themselves now up a pair.
It is an unassisted goal at 14:32 of this second period. As Dave said, Western Michigan now leads it 2-0 here in this national semifinal.
Remember I told you a couple of minutes ago, Denver's playing with fire with where they're turning pucks over?
Now it's nearing towards the goal, and it's snared out of the air by Davis, the Denver goaltender, reaching up in front of his chest, and he grabs it in his net mouth. Michaels, that snipe high glove. He went bar down on Davis. Might be the only way to beat the Denver goaltender. 2-0, 5:06 to go here in the second. And Michaels, Dave, is one of those great stories. 15 goals, 33 points this year as a sophomore. So many players overachieving from where they were at last year. As a freshman, he only had 2 goals and 7 points.
They had a loaded team up top last year, so it was hard to find time. But Michaels had a great regionals, but it wasn't offensively. Michaels had so many great proactive trackbacks to break up rushes the other way. He was almost the unsung hero defensively versus offensively, known as an offensive player.
Shoved back across the Western Michigan blue line. Zach Sharp up the far board. Now it's Zach Neering chipping it through center. The puck oscillates down, and it's not going to have enough steam for icing on the play. Denver from left to right out of its own territory. Lead pass back out to neutral. Tipped in to the Western Michigan zone. That is Zeev Buyam back on the ice out there defensively for Denver. Certainly a sigh of relief for Denver fans as they're down 2-0 trying to defend their national title here and look for an NCAA record 11th national title. Buyam holds the puck behind his goal, rifles it out to center for the Pioneers. 4:25 to play in the second. Dancing, nothing there again at the Western Michigan line. Fumbled a bit and steered out to center, and Garrett Sidlowski unable to come up with the puck. Players sprawling, looking for that puck in neutral. Aiden Thompson scurries through the neutral zone, hands it back to the line. Buyam hops off, and they were not on the same page that time. Now it's Western Michigan again through center. Ty Henrich across the attacking line. Slot shot, changed directions off the stick, wide of Davis to his left. Carter King out to neutral for Denver. They need some scoring, and if they're going to get it, most likely going to come from the top line. Home run feed, breakaway, shot, and a save made on Washi by Davis. He went forehand, it went off the stick of Davis. Denver hammers it down, and it's icing on the Pioneers. Washi looking to make it 3-zip, and Davis comes up with a monster stop on the breakaway.
He got Davis frozen, and Davis is just able to hold his ground high in the crease. He didn't give Washi a whole lot to shoot at, so Washi figured he'd try to stick it between the wickets. But great job by Washi to read that the Denver defense had fallen asleep. It was a late change by Western, so Washi came on the ice already behind enemy lines and was able to take it all the way to the net.
Washi, who had the only assist on the power play goal from Brian Kramer at 6:16 of this second to start the scoring tonight. Then Owen Michaels, a turnover, he turned into an unassisted tally for the Broncos at 14:32. Penalty at center here as there's a hooking call along the near boards.
That's Harkarainen, who got the stick into his check and got whistled for hooking.
With 3:38 to go in the second, Denver in desperate need of some life here goes on to the power play, trailing Western Michigan 2-0 here in this national semifinal. You're listening to the Frozen Four on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
At Progressive, we understand the bond you have with your boat. It's why people name theirs.
I named my boat Sure Don't. Get it? The other day when my friend said, "Hey Larry, you want to head back in? It looks like it might rain." I said, "Sure don't." I guess they didn't get it because they didn't laugh.
Whatever you call your boat, protect it by insuring it with Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.
Here's comedian Howie Mandel for hands-free Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins.
Yeah, I'm holding a new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-in sneaker, and first of all, I barely know I'm holding it. It's that light. You see, Cozy Fit is a cool new sneaker where the upper is made of a soft quilted material. It's kind of like a little puffer jacket for your feet, except it looks like a super stylish sneaker.
Introducing new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins, the latest comfort creation from Skechers. You can find Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Along with Dave Starman and Shireen Sasky, I'm Brian Tripp, and you're listening to the Men's Frozen 4 on the Westwood One Radio Network, presented by Marriott Bonvoy. Take your game day rituals on the road with Marriott Bonvoy, over 30 hotel brands for every kind of fan. Explore more at MarriottBonvoy.com/NCAA. Western Michigan leads it 2-0, but Denver now with its second power play of the game.
No team has got a better plus-minus power play goals scored to power play goals allowed than Denver. Actually, only one team, Quinnipiac. They're a +28. Denver is a +24 in that area, and they have lived with a good power play all year long.
Denver, 7 shots in the game. 4 of those 7 shots came on their first power play. Hampton Slukinski has not been tested in goal for Western Michigan. Denver wins the faceoff, and they've got their best 5 out there to start. Devine tries to hold at the far point, kept it alive, whacked between the circles. Skitters down low, skipped past Sam Harris. He's tied up in the corner, but King comes up with the puck, slings it back. Great reach and keep by Bouillon at the blue line for Denver. Hands atop the far circle, Devine. 3:15 to go in the second. Down 2-zip. Bouillon gets the pass deep slot, goes right back into the deep slot again. They're just playing catch back at the blue line. Bouillon now with his back to us from the near point. Hands for Thompson. Wheels out wide. Slings it Bouillon. Bouillon surveys into the corner on the pass. Waiting. It's Devine. Carries left at Thompson. Far circle. Backdoor off the stick. But Karam's right to Bouillon, who rescues it along the near dasher for Denver. And then it's wedged on free and whacked down the ice. And Davis has to come out to the hash marks to play the puck away from Tim Washi.
Western knows that Denver wants to get the puck to Aiden Thompson on the right wing side, and they have cheated and flooded that side to prevent that pass from happening, and that's what almost sprung them going the other way.
And Denver now halfway through this power play. 5-on-4, 2:30 to go in the second, trailing 2-0. The defending national champion stolen away at the line, scurrying through center, right to left. A breakaway for Costantini, shorthanded, backhand shot. Davis to his left, made the save. The rebound, fired back to the goal again, and Davis says no with the catching mitt. Here is Devine from left to right. Gains the attacking zone off a stick. Flutters between the rings. 30 seconds left for Denver here on this power play. 2:05 to go here in the second. 2-0 Western Michigan. Grant Slukinski wedged it back out to neutral.
What
Denver,
would be Hampton?
It would be a problem if he's all the way back in the blue line. Here is Thompson back across the Western Michigan line. Final seconds of this Denver power play. Along the near boards, it's poked back out to center. Washi again, another breakaway. Shorthanded, reels it in for him. Shot. He missed it high off the glass.
All right, so 5-hole, 0 for 1. And high glove side, 0 for 2. But Washi has been just cherry picking to find opportunities here, and he's been phenomenal.
Denver had no shots on that power play. Alex bumped the drive from the near circle. Entry feed right back into the zone. And he snaps a left-handed shot into Davis, who makes the butterfly save. Denver had nothing going on the power play. Western Michigan, 2 great shorthanded looks on the breakaways. Davis, 1 big save. 1 shot missed the target. And then Davis again down to our left makes the save on Alex Bump, the best scorer for Western Michigan, right as teams are back 5-on-5. And the crowd on its feet here, partially applauding the effort of Western Michigan, and then the Denver faithful on their feet saluting Matt Davis.
You see Alex Bump coming down his wing, driving the dot. 1 on goal, you could soil your shorts. I mean, that is exactly who you want with the puck and where you want it.
Shots are 32-7 in favor of Western Michigan. Denver, no shots on that power play. Face off inside the Denver zone. And Bump whistles one out of the corner high and wide. Kept alive by Vicenen at the line. Right now, Western Michigan smells blood in the water. Costantini soccered it back behind the net for Bump. Muscles, protects on the backhand, works the near board. Bump throws it back towards the goal, flutters off his stick, whacked out of there by Cale Ashcroft, the defenseman, back up the far boards. Heavy collision. Western Michigan comes up with a loose puck as it trickles back out to center. Then they accelerate right back into the attacking zone. Owen Michaels, who has one of the 2 Bronco goals here in the period, kept it in at the blue line for a moment, snuck back out to center, pinballs around there, and then back into the Denver zone. The faceoff will be in neutral because of the offside with 46 seconds to go in the second.
Now, Brian, when you take a look at Denver, the one thing that they do possess is quick strike ability. When they played Arizona State in the frozen faceoff, there was a point in the game where Denver looked like they were taking a nap, and then all of a sudden they struck. And it's something they've done all season long. Western has had a couple of defensive lapses in facing the rush against Denver where they open up the weak side of the ice, and it's allowed Denver to have a little daylight.
Speaking of daylight here, Salmonen drives the goal. It skips off his stick. He tried to shove one in on the untested Hampton. Slukinski comes right back out front, thrown on, loose in the net mouth scramble in front of Slukinski, whacked out of the slot, back up the far boards, kept alive by Denver. 25 seconds left here in the second. 2-0 Western Michigan. Denver skipping and bounding puck. They just can't settle the puck down. Then it's a rocket up into the seats by Western Michigan. Face off inside the Broncos zone with 18 seconds left here in the second.
Dave Starman along with Brian Tripp here at our Grainger broadcast booth in St. Louis. Shireen Saski is ringside. For the ones who get it done, there's Grainger offering professional grade products for all industries, fast delivery, and free technical support. Call, click Grainger.com or just stop by. It is 2-0 Western, and we are in the waning seconds. 18 left here in period number 2.
And our second national semifinal coming up later tonight. Boston University and Penn State making its first ever appearance here at the Frozen Four. Penn State head coach Guy Godowski we'll hear from during our second intermission. Brad Heller back in our studios will also have a recap of our first 40 minutes.
Okay, Washi just got tossed on a defensive zone draw. Let's see how this shakes out.
Can Denver get anything here in the final 15 seconds of the period? Won by Western Michigan. Huyem kept it at the line. Hands in a long shot, easily caught by the netminder Hampton. Slukinski out to his left.
And here's why I bring that up. The defensive zone draw, you got 18 seconds left to go. Your top centerman on his wing where he's really strong gets thrown out. Now, the faceoff got scrambled. Western had some possession, but Denver flooded really well to get the puck back. And when they got it back, where did it wind up? On Zeev Buyem's stick. So despite Denver losing the draw, really good battle plan to seal the wall and get the puck back. And now with 8.3, same dot, right side for Denver, offensive zone draw.
Samu Salmonen will take the faceoff for the Pioneers. Third-round pick, the New Jersey Devils in 2021, and a transfer from UConn. Officials are checking to make sure the time on the clock is correct. 8.3 currently on the clock here with Western Michigan in front, 2-0 here in this second period, and that is critical because, as you just talked about, big face-off, Denver looking for a late strike to get some momentum. They have strung a couple of good shifts together, though, here at the end of the period.
And Salmonen draws at about 56% during the course of the season. He's going to take this face-off on his offside. He is a left shot. It's a right dot draw.
In the second period.
And we have 8.0 and that 8.3 that's left. And if you're wondering, is Denver going to pull their goalie here? Unless it's under 2.5, you cannot pull your goalie for an offensive zone draw late in the period. 2.5 is about the magic number.
You see David Carl with his leg up over on the Denver bench, peering on. Again, unfamiliar territory for Denver here in the postseason. Convincing wins in the regional against Providence and Boston College. But down 2-0 here with 5 seconds left in the period. One last opportunity behind the net. Reader, nothing there. Centering passes hammered out of harm's way by Western as the period comes to an end. And there's a broken stick on the ice. Polkamp gets right in the grill of the defenseman Sam Scholand of Western Michigan. No penalties called on that play. 2-0 Western Michigan through 40 minutes here at the Frozen Four.
And Polkamp's like an oak tree with arms. Like he's the last guy you want to get mixed up with. Western is playing to Western's identity. They are doing everything they have done all season long. And like I said, last 24 straight games, the expected goals for battle, they have won and won convincingly. They just generate tons of chances with the way they play.
Not only their first Frozen Four appearance, but Western Michigan making its 10th NCAA tournament appearance. They only had one tournament win coming in to this 2025 postseason. But at the end of the second period, our score, Western Michigan 2, Denver 0. Coming up during intermission, we'll hear from Penn State head coach Guy Godowski. From the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, this is the Frozen Four.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals, because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Because of you, I found the resources I needed.
Because of you, I found the right doctor.
Because of you, I'm not alone.
These are words we cherish at the Sarcoma Alliance. Each year, thousands of Americans of all ages are diagnosed with sarcoma, the rare 1% of all cancers. The Sarcoma Alliance is there during their difficult journey, providing education, guidance, and connection. Learn more at sarcomaalliance.org, sponsored by the Sarcoma Alliance.
Welcome back to the Frozen Four on Westwood One from the Progressive Insurance Studios. I'm Brad Heller. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. After a scoreless first period, Western Michigan lighting the lamp twice in the second, and the Broncos lead defending champion Denver 2-0 after 2 in the first Frozen Four semifinal in St. Louis. The theme of blue blood versus new blood is going to continue in the second semifinal, with Boston University making its 25th Frozen Four appearance and newcomer Penn State. The Nittany Lions were just a club team when Guy Godowski was hired as head coach back in 2011. That was soon after a $100 million donation from Sabres and Buffalo Bills owner and Penn State alum Terry Pegula. And now Godowski has guided the Nittany Lions to their first Frozen Four appearance And here he is with our Shireen Sasky.
Congratulations, Coach. Welcome to your first Frozen Four. How can you put this moment in perspective?
Oh, well, thank you. It's wonderful, but for so many people, obviously, there's a lot of people that, spend a lot of time working to get here. Yeah. Terry Pagula, first and foremost, but aside from that, the administration at the time and administration now, and, I think, especially for me, the players that decided to come to Penn State when everybody told them they were going to get killed, and they were the ones that set the foundation. So for all of those reasons, it's really wonderful to be here.
What did you do to prepare your team for this experience? It's got to be nerve-wracking a little bit, but yet your team is prepared for the challenge.
Well, the way we did it was just business as usual. One of the things about the way the season went is, we sort of looked at it as we've been playing playoff hockey since January. We believe in our routine, and really we're looking at this as hey, the lights are a little brighter, but it's business as usual.
Let's talk about the first half of the season. It certainly didn't go the way anyone had planned or hoped for. 0-8-1 to start the Big Ten season. That was a really tough time, but you guys drew inspiration from other programs at Penn State.
Well, we did, and at that time, I think really a big part of it, though, was the leadership group, especially Carson Dick. During that time, he just absolutely refused anyone to get negative. And he just led in such a positive way in a time that it would have been really easy to throw in the towel. You mentioned our record. We were winless in the first 9 games. And during that same time, the women's volleyball team won the national championship, but it was a semifinal game where they were down 2-0 and down 22-16, games up to 25. And they end up somehow pulling that game out, winning the next 2, winning that match, which was totally improbable, or closer to impossible than improbable, and then went on and won the national championship. And I remember the team, just one day walked in the locker room and they were talking about it, and they were pretty blown away about how that could happen. And so they spoke to some of the athletes, and we even had Coach Katie come in and answer questions for the guys. And it happened to be that a lot of the things that they did to pull that off was exactly what Carson Dick was saying that we had to do. So I think that was very impactful.
At what point this season did you realize we've turned this around and we can do something special?
I don't think we had. I think we really approached every weekend that we're going to take whatever happened the weekend before and we're going to learn from it and move on and then try to get better the next weekend. And that was really our approach all along until I think we went into Yost Arena and swept, and we were like, hold on, wait a minute. No one gave us a chance. We actually have a chance to make the tournament here as an at-large. And really, I don't think it was anything along the way that said, oh, we're in this. I just think it was just us trying to improve every week.
Penn State head coach Guy Godowski with Shireen Sasky. The Nittany Lions 10-1 in their last 13 games. They came out of the Allentown Regional beating UConn in overtime in the quarterfinals. They're going to meet Boston University, the first ever meeting between the two in our second semifinal. Defending champion Denver on the ropes. The Pioneers trail Western Michigan 2-0 after 2 periods. From the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, this is the Frozen Four.
Braxton was diagnosed with choroid plexus carcinoma, a brain tumor. St. Jude is helping us put away our fears. We have an amazing team that fights for the best outcome for Braxton. He has the best chance here. I don't have to worry that how much is that bag of fluid going to cost me? Can I afford it to save my child's life? The donations, they're paying for me to live every day with my son, be stress-free, and enjoy every day with him. I wish there was a word bigger than thank you, more close to the heart, because thank you's not enough. They've given me hope. They've given me my son.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sweetie, want some fruit? You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
Science is not an opinion. People come before pipelines.
It's not too late to act on climate. No one is above the law. At Earth Justice, we hold these beliefs to be self-evident. As a national legal nonprofit fighting for your right to a healthy environment, we are 150-plus lawyers representing clients free of charge because now, more than ever, the Earth needs a good lawyer. No one fights more cases on the environment than Earth Justice. And we win because these are fights we cannot lose. We win for scientists so they can serve at the EPA. We win at the Supreme Court because clean water is for everyone. We win against fossil fuel plants so communities can breathe freely. If you believe what we believe, then help us fight the good fight and help us keep winning by going to earthjustice.org today. That's earthjustice.org.
When it feels like the world has stopped, good finds a way. Good connects us, even when we can't get close. Good never stops, and neither does Children International. We help provide children and families with essentials like food assistance, hygiene education, medical help, and financial support. To learn more, go to children.org/help today.
Owen Michael skates and protects the puck far circle. Back to the line. Krosberg Racine hammers one to the goal. Blocker saved by Davis to his left for Denver. Western Michigan 3-on-2 and a shot. Score! Oh, what a rocket! Owen Michaels! 2-0 Western Michigan. 5:26 to play. Owen Michaels is mobbed on his bench. Michaels takes advantage of the turnover. His 15th of the year gives the Broncos a 2-0 lead.
And that is the score after 2 periods. Western Michigan, in its first Frozen Four appearance, leads defending champion Denver 2-0. Brad Heller with you in our Westwood One studios. Owen Michaels and Brian Kramer, the goal scorers for the Broncos, who are 26-2 when leading after 2 periods this season. Matt Davis keeping Denver in this game. He has made 30 saves so far, shots 32-8 in favor of Western Michigan. We'll see if the Pioneers can mount a comeback in the final 20 minutes. Owen Michaels is going to join Shireen Saski as well as we get ready for period number 3. Western Michigan up 2-0 on Denver. We'll get you back to St. Louis after this. You're listening to the Frozen Four on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
My PTSD when I came home was pretty bad. You come into civilian life and you just don't fit in anymore. But something extraordinary happened in my life. PGA home. Playing with the veterans and being together, that's our safety zone. The one thing that we're missing in civilian life, where do we fit in again? And that would be PGA home.
Pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, your home for the national championships.
A pair of dominating first two periods for Western Michigan, leading the defending champion Pioneers of Denver by a 2-0 score on second period goals from Brian Kramer and Owen Michaels. And before we start the third period, let's head back ringside where Shireen Sasky is joined by one of those goal scorers, Owen Michaels.
Owen, you gave your Broncos a little padding there in the second with your unassisted goal. Take me through that goal.
Yeah, kind of towards the end of my shift there. I just saw the puck kind of pop out to me in the O-zone and had some ice and some time and space and figured I'd get moving a little bit and then just throw one on net, and fortunately it went in.
32-8, the shots on goal in this one, but a 2-0 game. We know when it comes to Western Michigan and Denver, a 2-0 lead isn't a big one. What do you need to do in the third?
Yeah, absolutely. We're expecting a push from them. You know, it's two teams going at it, fighting for their lives. So these are the kind of games we want to be a part of, and, you know, we're looking forward to the next 20 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dave, I mentioned it. Western Michigan dominant so far. Denver in uncharted territory. It's just the 8th time this season they are winless when entering the third period and trailing a hockey game. What did they have to do if they want to defend their national championship?
Same thing they did against Minnesota State a couple years ago in Boston, and that is come out and own the period early. For them, it's about getting pucks behind the Western Michigan defense and going to work down low. Denver can grind better than a lot of teams give them credit for, but the one thing they haven't been able to do is, A, establish the center lane of the ice in terms of generating some speed coming out, and B, their defense need to get pucks quicker up off the glass so they can spring some players moving forward with a little bit of speed. They have just not been able to catch Western out of structure at all in this game. The one time they did, they almost scored.
It's time now for the start of the third period, sponsored by the 2027 X15 engine from Cummins, featuring better fuel efficiency, immense power, and backed by 25-plus years of experience. The 2027 X15 is built to rise above the challenges of tomorrow. The X15, forever rising. Western Michigan in its first ever Frozen Four against in-conference rival Denver, a 2-0 lead for the Broncos as we get ready for the third period here from the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. Brian Tripp, Dave Starman here in the booth, Shireen Sasky ringside. The two teams meet at center ice on the 2025 Men's Frozen Four logo. Lean in, and Western Michigan 20 minutes away from its first ever national championship game, and the Broncos win the faceoff to start the third. Hammer it down, attacking to our right. Owen Michaels along the near boards, tied up by Zeev Buyam, who left the game momentarily in the second period, injured for Denver. Did not miss a shift, however. Puck is thrown back down towards Matt Davis, the Denver goaltender, who has held his team in this game. It was played down with a high stick along the near boards. It rolls through the goal crease, and a whistle stops to sound play. 27 seconds into the third.
So what's really important here for Denver is they really need to own the first 5 minutes of this period because they've got to do something to get their heart rates up. Now, Denver's managed situations like this before, but the bottom line for them is they need some offensive attack pressure. They need to make sure that they don't leave grade A chances on the table. So anytime they are between the dots and under the circles, it has to go to the net along with bodies. If you can steal a greasy one and get Western concerned, then all of a sudden you got a game.
Dave, all it is one shot away from being a one-shot game.
And again, just to bring up the point about that second period, they had one shift where they got a couple of shots and talking about Denver and generated a little bit of momentum. And one of the openings that they got was gaining the zone on the right wing side. Western got caught puck watching, and it opened up a wide open backdoor chance that they didn't convert on. But that's what they need to do.
Pioneers, no space through center after winning the faceoff. Garrett Brown races back, the defenseman for Denver, deep inside his own zone out there with Eric Polkamp, who's been incredibly quiet tonight. Turn it over. Valente spins it towards the net front, looking for nearing, nothing there. Denver, right to left. Brown, the defenseman, leads the rush across the Western Michigan line from the near point. King off escape between the circles. Near circle, Thompson centers, redirected on, saved by Slukinski across the crease from right to left. A great stop right on the welcome mat. Driving the goal, Eric Polkamp right on cue, has the redirect, but the save by Slukinski for Western Michigan.
Remember I told you about that quick strike thing? Western got a little careless in the neutral zone, but it all started with Denver being able to get the puck out of their own zone, and all of a sudden there was a good 4 or 5 foot gap between where Polkamp was and where his check should have been, and I'm not from Slukinski, it's 2-1.
Polkamp, the transfer from Bemidji State, had 11 career goals while playing with the Beavers. He has 11 goals here this year for the Pioneers. Western Michigan wins the faceoff, then dumps it down the ice from left to right.
He's got more weapons to work with here, that's for darn sure.
No doubt about that. Was playing with Boston Buckberger for much of the year, who's out injured for Denver, missing this Frozen Four. Controlled by Western Michigan, long lead feed out of their own territory, redirected in. And they're going to make a 5-man change here as the Pioneers have the puck out of their own territory. And those crimson sweaters, it's swatted down into the Broncos zone. Sam Sholin retrieves, rings it back up the dasher, collared in by Ty Henricks, who races through neutral. He's rubbed off the puck at the blue line by a fresh Denver player hopping over the boards. The puck crept back out to center, then was pulled over that line, so it results in a Western Michigan offside. 2-0 Broncos, 18:24 to play.
You wonder why Denver's not generating a lot of offense, and one of the reasons is Western is a 2-up, hard-press, forecheck type team, so they get a lot of pressure on both defensemen. So they don't allow Denver to hinge very well in the defensive zone, meaning go D to D. They have also had Denver's defensemen on their backhand trying to exit the zone a lot. That's not a recipe for success.
Igor Lawrence gets the steal for Denver. Centers, good back check, though, by Sidlowski for Western Michigan. Now he's going coast to coast with the puck down into the Denver zone. Along the far boards, Cam Knuble tied up. Sidlowski supports for Western Michigan. Puck just stuck in that far corner. And clock right now the enemy of Denver. 2-0 Western Michigan. Broncos evacuate it into the slot. Krusberg-Rosine, a shot that ricochets off a leg. Brown for Denver controls behind the goal. The defenseman will start the rush. Now it's Sebrian through center, right to left to the Western Michigan line. He'll chip and chase after it as reinforcements come off the Denver bench. Cannot be held in the zone. Back along the near boards. Flung back out to neutral. Curling back to his own line. Jack Devine recoils. Flings it for Thompson across the Western Michigan line, then rattles back out to center. Alex Bump will chip and once again head off the change for Western Michigan. You can see the short, succinct shifts here for the Broncos to start this third. Kept in by Väisänen, pried between the circles and centered right back in the slot. A shot, Davis the save. It's beneath him, driving the goal. Valente unable to wedge it back in. He had the first try. Then another drive is blocked in the near circle, and Denver out of its own zone with speed. Scampering through center, King hands across the attacking line. Thompson barrels behind the goal on the forehand. Aiden Thompson circling the wagons inside the attacking zone. Dropped it for Zeke Buyum. Wiggles into the slot, lets it fly. Saved by Slukinski into his chest. The Western Michigan goaltender out atop his crease makes the stop and hangs on.
Second time in the game that Denver has gotten control of the offensive blue line and got into their high cycle, and they were able to generate some east-west momentum up high above the tops of the circles and get a grade A opportunity from Zeke Buyum. Western's done a wonderful job shutting it down. Denver finally got the chance, and you see how quickly they can strike out of that formation.
Denver already 2 shots here in this third period. Had just 3 in the first and 5 in the second. Shots 34-10. Western Michigan in the hockey game, but the Pioneers playing for their season as they attempt to defend their national championship. Also looking for their third national title in 4 years. Western Michigan wins the draw, gets the tip down into the Denver zone. Matt Davis out to play it. Just threw it right back up the boards and back out to center.
You'll remember Davis catches the other way, so he clears pucks on the opposite side that most goalies do. Western's used to it because they played him 3 times and a whole lot more last year. So a lot of these guys are anticipating where Davis is going to throw the puck when he gets to those dump-ins, and they've been guessing right a ton of times.
Denver regroups after a delayed offside. They have to flip the script from that NCHC championship game. Pioneers on the attack, lost it in the corner. Now they come up with it behind the goal. Centering feed out front off his skate. Off of Jake Fisher in the low slot. Found by Capone there. Back to line, a shot. Redirected from between the circles. Wide by James Reeder. And now Western Michigan patrols through center. Left to right into the attacking zone. Dumped in deep. Broncos again changing here. They have 3 back in neutral, just really late getting into the attacking zone. Now behind the goal, Cam Knuble comes up with the puck. That fourth line that you absolutely love is out there again for Western Michigan. Michaels joins a couple of wingers on that line. Centering pass is off the stick, and then play stopped. A penalty spotted back behind play.
And we're going to get a high sticking penalty, and it's going to be on Denver. So Western gets on the power play. Fans, you can listen to Westwood One's coverage of the Frozen Four and other NCAA championships on Alexa. Just ask your device to open Westwood One Sports, and you'll be able to enjoy all the action this weekend, as well as the men's lacrosse semifinals and championship, plus both the men's and women's College World Series. That's open Westwood One Sports to listen on Alexa.
Don't play a lot of time, those fourth lines. Hagen Burroughs, a fourth liner for Denver, takes the high sticking penalty, and it really feels like an opportunity for a Western Michigan power play to drive the dagger in here to the defending champs. Western Michigan started the scoring with a power play goal tonight from Kramer. At the line, Sholin to top the far circle. They set up, attacking to our right, 2-0. Broncos in front here in the national semifinals. Settled by Valente. Goes back to Sholin, deep slot. Across far circle. Settled in a snipe high of the goal, and it caroms off the glass, up and out of play. They really like to work those flanks with Valente, Dave, and of course Alex Bump on the other side.
Yeah, it's like we've been talking about it with Bump. Bump is a left wing shot who plays the left wing side. So when the puck starts to move around, Bump will come way up towards the blue line to give himself some drive down space. And when he picks it up and starts driving top circle dot lane, his accuracy makes him that much more dangerous. The puck sees one thing, your eyes see another. When he's got the puck, it sees everything.
Failed clear by Denver. Scrum off to face off right to Bump, far circle. Bump harassed out wide. Went back to the line. Sholin slings it atop the near circle. Valente back to Sholin. Back at the blue line. Center point. He's quarterbacking from there. He gets the pass. Fakes the shot. Slings it. Valente. One-timer. Kicked out by Davis for Denver to his left. Time and space for the Pioneers to clear. They will clear and change. Kent Anderson rips it down the ice.
One of the tactics on a power play that Pat Verschweiler likes is the one-timer shooting from the goaltender stick side. It's a harder save to make coming across than a one-timer, and that's what Verschweiler wants with Valente against Davis, with the short side being the left.
Fresh players for each team. 60 seconds left here on this Western Michigan power play. Set up inside the attacking zone again from the far circle. Grant Slukinski wheels out wide. Weissenen takes the pass at the line. Deals it right back to Slukinski. Backdoor feed. One-time shot off the heel of the stick. Trampolines back out the far side. And then Denver detecting it aside the goal. They get the clear. Brian Kramer was set up again. He started the scoring tonight, but he went off the heel of his stick that time. 30 seconds left on the Western Michigan power play. 14-10 to play here in the third. Western Michigan in front 2-0 here in the national semifinal. Weissenen rescued it at the line, goes to Kramer. A couple of defensemen kept it alive inside the zone. Walking the near boards, Tim Washi pivots below the near circle. Dealt it behind the goal, back to Grant Slukinski. Walks the far boards, slings it, Weissenen. Weissenen on the shot from the deep slot. It's tipped high off the goaltender. It went off the back glass. Denver controls it out to center. It's chipped down the ice by Sebrian, and Denver gets the kill. A pivotal kill to keep them in the hockey game. 2-0 Western Michigan. 13:40 to play here in the first national semifinal of this 20-25 Frozen Four. Teams are 5-on-5. Michaels with the back check. Gets the steal at his own line for Western Michigan. Into the attacking zone along the near boards. Costantini, supported by Bump, tries to extract the puck. Could not. Denver comes out of there with the loose biscuit. Out to center, Jack Devine, the nation's leading scorer, into the attacking zone, up the far boards, carried behind the net. King sets up out front. Pass into the deep slot, one touch into the far circle, a shot by Thompson, blocked, rebound, he scores! Denver with life, 2-1 with 13:09 to go. Aiden Thompson with his 21st of the year, and Denver, just like that, is within one.
We've seen the movie before. Western got a little sloppy in its own end, and Denver just won every race to every loose puck. And the original shot that went to the net was flubbed. It was blocked by the Western defense, but they couldn't control it. So the one-timer that tried to come off the stick of Thompson just didn't get anywhere. Thompson stayed with it and was able to poke it through the defender and through Slukinski. When you're expecting a fastball and you get a knuckleball, it's really hard to react quickly. That's what happened in Denver for the first time all game. Gets a fortunate bounce.
Thompson, who had 3 points in the regional, brings his team within one here in the national semifinals as they generate the goal right after a pivotal penalty kill at the other end of the ice. 12:55 to play. Denver's got it again. William at the line, point to point. Shot from the far point. Traffic out front. Wide of Slukinski for Western Michigan. Off the glass, back to the line. William smacks it into the air. Flutters back out to neutral and picked up there by Western Michigan. Hakarainen whacks it up the far boards. Washi failed to get it deep. And now Denver from right to left looking for the equalizer into the attacking zone. Offside. A man driving the far wing. And the pass by Reeder down low. Would have had that target, but into the zone too early on the entry. The score, Western Michigan 2, Denver 1, 12:34 to play. Here in the third from the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, this is the Frozen Four.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Are you seeking to honor those who've served and sacrificed for their country? Visit the Veterans Legacy Memorial. This digital platform, run by VA's National Cemetery Administration, is dedicated to the memory of more than 4.8 million veterans interred at VA's national cemeteries, VA's grant-funded tribal, state, and territory cemeteries, and 2 U.S. National Park Service cemeteries. The memorial's interactive features allow people to remember veterans by posting tributes and comments, uploading images, and sharing a veteran's military timeline, achievements, biographical information, historical documents, and more. Over 45,000 submissions have been made to the existing profile pages since the site was launched. That's the Veterans Legacy Memorial.
My name is Latoya Adams. I served in the Army. Being with Paralyzed Veterans of America, they have showed me so much is possible.
I'm Sean Castle, served in the United States Army. I went from laying in a hospital bed dying to being a professional wheelchair basketball player. And it started with that one moment where there's life. I am unstoppable because Paralyzed Veterans of America is by my side.
We are unstoppable.
Learn more at pva.org.
Along with Dave Starman and Shireen Saski, I'm Brian Tripp, and you're listening to the Men's Frozen Four on the Westwood One Radio Network, presented by Marriott Bonvoy. Take your game day rituals on the road with Marriott Bonvoy. Over 30 hotel brands for every kind of fan. Explore more at MarriottBonvoy.com/NCAA. Aiden Thompson, the goal for Denver, here in the third at 6:49 from Cale Ashcroft and Garrett Brown, a pair of defensemen being outshot 35-11 in the game. But Dave, they're back within one, familiar territory here at the Frozen Four for Denver.
Absolutely, and Ashcroft and Brown have really elevated their games in recent weeks after the loss of Buckberger, giving Denver a little bit more defensive depth all around.
And it came right after a Denver penalty kill. Matt Davis has been terrific in goal tonight for the Pioneers, keeping his team within reach. Krusberg-Rosine back down in the attacking end here for Western Michigan to our right in the white sweaters, and Brown bottoms carried back to the line and twisted back along the boards. Nearing at his pocket, picked behind the goal by Brown, who flings it up the near boards. It's one-handed back out to neutral by Denver before it's slammed back in by Western Michigan.
Now, Western Michigan by no means is going to sit on this. They just got punched in the mouth, and we'll see how they react to it. But Western Michigan's mantra all season long hasn't been to protect leads, it's been to extend them.
In the near corner, trouble with that puck. Good play by Väisänen to steer it back up the boards and back out to center. Hakarainen pass off the far boards. Shingothi reaching for the puck, goes off the body, hovers back out to neutral before it's pried back into the Denver zone, just wide of Davis, who comes out to slow it down. Pioneers from right to left, down one with 11:30 to go here in the third. 2-1 Western Michigan, two NCHC rivals who played 3 one-goal games heading into this NCAA tournament during the regular season. King comes free, center, block, down front, sliding through the net mouth. Sam Sholin got the block as he goes down on his belly and takes away the seam pass.
Another defensive lapse by Western Michigan. That was a turnover that turned into a 2-on-1 real quick by Denver and a great shot block, or else this game was tied.
Here comes Thompson, scurries back into the attacking zone, left it to Devine, fed it right back into the deep slot, reeled in there, flubbed a bit, skips to Thompson, and Western Michigan comes up with the puck, failed clear, kept alive by Thompson. Shingothi lugs it out to center, exhausted at the end of his shift. Gets it to the Denver blue line, but no further. Chip right back to the Western Michigan line. They go D-to-D there. Then scurrying far wing, Zach Sharp winds it down into the Denver zone. It rims up the near dasher. Alex Bump near half wall, unable to settle it. Cale Ashcroft in front of the goal. Bump creates the turnover along the far boards. He's got the puck. Sprints into the far circle. Drags into the slot. He's stripped of the puck there. Denver out through center. Sam Harris, their leading goal scorer, up the far board. Squeezes deep with the biscuit. He's closed off in the corner. 2-1 Western Michigan. 10:15 to play here in the third in this national semifinal. The Broncos win the puck out of the corner and clear.
Best 5 minutes of the game for Denver with the 5 minutes we just saw. All of a sudden they look interested again. Their details are better. They're jumping into open ice. They're getting pucks behind the Western defense. And for the first time in the game, they're making Western Michigan a little uncomfortable.
Nearing through center, sacks it in wide of Davis. Pat Firstweiler, the head coach of Western Michigan, said you can only contain Denver. Well, they did for the first 46 minutes, but right now the Pioneers buzzing as they come back on the attack and across the Western Michigan line. Offside. 9:47 to go here in the third. Western Michigan 2, Denver 1. You're listening to the Frozen 4 on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
With Marriott Bonvoy, take your game day rituals on the road. No matter how you show your team spirit, find a stay for your style when you explore our entire world of hotel brands and experiences. Marriott Bonvoy has a brand for every kind of fan. Marriott Bonvoy, official hotel partner of the NCAA. Explore more at marriottbonvoy.com/NCAA.
The NCAA Men's Final Four. Every whoop, high five, shout, and holler gets your team one step closer to the promised land. Any questions?
Professor, are we ready?
You prepare to open a can of fandom and cheer like you've never done it before? Oh, you're ready. We're cutting down some nets now. The NCAA Men's Final Four, April 4th and 6th, 2026 in Indianapolis. Apply for seats today at ncaa.com/Men's Final Four.
Shireen Saski with you at the Frozen Four semifinal number 1. Denver now just trailing by 1 goal here in the third with 9:47 to go. The Pioneers obviously would not be in this game tonight if it weren't for their great goaltender, Matt Davis. He was the most outstanding player of the Frozen Four last year as Denver won its 10th national championship. Last year, goaltending coach Ryan Massa worked with Matt Davis a lot on the mental aspect of his game. That was a big help in winning the title last year. You're seeing that mental toughness here tonight again, guys.
And Shireen, as we both know, Ryan Massa, tremendous goalie coach. And the other thing that we talked about during the course of the season when it came to Denver and Davis was his ability to stay over his toes and stay between the pipes. Another big area where Ryan Massa has helped Matt Davis be more effective in the crease for Denver and be more ready for second shots when they happen.
Denver entered this third period trailing 2-0. The goal from Aiden Thompson at 6:49 after a big penalty kill gives the Pioneers life. They're down 2-1 with 9:47 to go here in the third of this national semifinal. Pioneers this year, they've battled adversity. Actually only 7-9 in one-goal games this season. It has not been smooth sailing for David Carl's team to get back to this Frozen Four. Took a late season push and a big come-from-behind series win in the NCHC tournament against Colorado College, even to be an at-large team here. But they're on the attack looking for the equalizer. Kreuzberg-Rosine, though, has other plans for Western Michigan. Darts through center, then chips it up and out of play into the Denver bench.
You know, there's been at least 5 or 6 times in this game where one of the two teams is moving with a puck in open space and found a zebra right in front of them. And it's been a concern that some people have talked about it at a lot of different levels. And the NHL is a different story because those guys are full-time people. But there's been a talk about the game getting so fast and officials not being able to keep up with the speed of the game and winding up in the way more often than they should. It's an interesting topic of discussion.
Denver wins the face-off at center. It's a rocket in, wide of Slukinski, back down into the Western Michigan zone. This has by far been Denver's best sustained pressure of the hockey game here over the last 8 minutes. They're within one. Behind the goal, Lorenz whips it back to the blue line, but off target for Garrett Brown out of the corner on a blind pass, and it skips back down into the Denver zone. Brown slings it out to center. Sebrian will chip it down wide of Slukinski. Denver barrels in forechecking here. Pressure comes up with a steal up front. Backhand pass across the goal crease. Out of the crease, Slukinski. Backhanded from behind the goal by Sebrian. Off the netminder. He kept it out from an awkward angle. Polkamp kept it in the zone. Goes right back down low. Lawrence walks behind the goal. Lawrence on the forehand. Left it for Bouillon. Bouillon darts below the near circle. Centers into the slot. A turnaround shot from the near circle. Whistles wide. Kept alive again at the blue line. This time by Polkamp. Slings it to Bouillon. Power move to the goal. Threw it and wedged it out front. It went off a stick through the goal crease there, whacking away at the puck, and Western Michigan grabs it and clears.
To use a basketball term, Western Michigan needed a stop there. They got one. It wasn't easy, and Denver's starting to use their speed and their hand skills. I think Denver's the handsiest team in the NCAA, and they're starting to use their hand and stick skills to turn this game around.
And they also skate extremely well, especially at the blue line, and we saw the impact of Polkamp and Ziv Bouillon on that last shift. for the Pioneers paired out there together. We expect to see that a bunch here down the stretch. Sam Harris hauls it out to center for Denver. Only as far as the Western Michigan line. It's chipped in deep and then wound back behind the goal. Grasner for Sharp. Sharp, the defenseman, up the dasher, flicked it out to neutral. 7:45 to play here in the third. Pinballing puck at center ice. Along the far boards, Denver comes up with the loose puck. Settled down D-to-D at their own line. 2-1 Western Michigan here in this national semifinal, looking to advance to their first ever national championship game. Denver needing a comeback to defend its championship from a year ago. Western Michigan scoops it up at center, scurries into the attacking zone, nearing a deep slot. Shot is snared by Davis atop his goal crease. He'll glove it and stop play on the shot at shoulder height and the faceoff inside the Denver zone.
Hockey fans, limited ticket options remain for Saturday's national championship. Visit ncaa.com/Frozen4 to secure your seats for the national championship game.
And we can't wait to be here for that on Saturday night. The winner of this game taking on the winner of our second national semifinal that we'll have for you later tonight between the first-timers, Penn State. The Nittany Lions here to take on the Terriers from Boston University. Western Michigan wins the draw, leading it 2-1 here in their first ever trip to the Frozen Four. It's the New Bloods and the Blue Bloods. And the Blue Bloods, Denver, evacuate their zone. The long lead pass that banks off the near boards. Krusberg-Rosine throws it back down the ice into the Denver zone. Battle along the near dasher. Nearing comes up with the puck. Centering pass, though, detected and slapped back out to center. Fumbled at center by Western Michigan off a Broncos stick again, and it rattles back into the Western Michigan zone. Good reach, though, by Kramer, who has one of the two Bronco goals tonight. Deflected it back out to center. Western Michigan here against this Denver forecheck set up just no time and space through center.
I'll tell you what, I don't care how much you believe in your system, and Western certainly does. That belief can get a little wary when you're playing a team like Denver with the composure that they have and the patience they have.
And here come the Pioneers down to our left. 2-1 Western Michigan, 6:30 to play here in the national semifinals. Loose behind the Western Michigan goal. Sam Scholand on the puck. Exit pass far wing. Eero Hakarainen slammed off the puck at center by Capone. Denver playing that physical game now as well with speed through center. Ashcroft for Denver. Gains the red line. He'll throw it down into the Western Michigan zone. Pioneers will take this chance to change. Alex Bump at his own line. Off the skate through center. Picked off by the Pioneers. And it's tied up. Sebrian lost it in the deep slot. Back out to neutral. Rattles off the stick. And again, it goes sailing into the seats down beneath us. With 5:59 to go here in the third, Western Michigan now holding on to a 2-1 lead.
So one thing you got to remember here, if you're Western Michigan, yeah, you do have a style of play that you like, and it's go north quick. There have been 2 or 3 times right now where Western's had pucks outside the dot lane on their side of the red line. They try to force them into the middle. That's low percentage hockey. Right now, you're still trying to extend the lead. You're still trying to play offense if you're Western Michigan. But you got to play it a little bit smarter, and that is pucks outside the dot lanes, if they're turned over, are not immediate threats no matter where you are on the ice. But if you start to put them inside the dots, in the middle of the ice, between the blue lines, you are risking Denver's speed taking the shift over.
What's crazy here, Denver has dominated this period, but they only have 3 shots on goal. One of those 3 went into the back of the net. Aiden Thompson getting Denver on the scoreboard, trying to erase a 2-0 lead. Pioneers have it again. Deep slot, Bouillon. Bouillon throws it towards the goal, looking for a deflection. It was blocked by Western Michigan behind the defense. Bump lost an edge. He got the entry feed. Centered looking for Michaels driving the net, but Bouillon back in his own end canceled it out.
Another example. That was a low-risk play, even though it was in the offensive zone, to the middle of the ice into traffic. Denver almost turned it around. Like, those are the plays, if you're Western, you can't let the excitement of the moment overwhelm your decision-making, and that's where simplicity would have been a little bit better.
5 minutes, 10 seconds to play here in this national semifinal. Can Western Michigan dethrone Denver? They won 2 of the 3 previous meetings this year between these NCHC foes. Hauled out from in front of the goal crease. Long lead pass out to center. Picked off by the Pioneers. Garrett Brown hemmed back in his own zone now by Grant Slukinski. 1 touch back across the attacking line. Thompson's got it for Denver. Wheels out wide. Thompson goes back door, driving the net. King skipped over his stick. Western Michigan looks to counter, but it's stolen by Brown at center, the defenseman. Right on the tape near wing, turning Thompson. He recoils, jets across the attacking line. And then King whines and cranks, but flubs the one-time shot. It just rolls slowly into Slukinski, who covers up out to his right. 2-1, Western Michigan in front. 4:40 to go here in the third. Don't go away. You're listening to the Frozen Four on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
At Progressive, we understand the bond you have with your boat. It's why people name theirs.
I named my boat Sure Don't. Get it? The other day when my friend said, "Hey Larry, you want to head back in? It looks like it might rain." I said, "Sure don't." I guess they didn't get it because they didn't laugh.
Whatever you call your boat, protected by insuring it with Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
Here's comedian Howie Mandel for hands-free Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins.
Yeah, I'm holding a new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-in sneaker, and first of all, I barely know I'm holding it. It's that light. You see, Cozy Fit is a cool new sneaker where the upper is made of a soft quilted material. It's kind of like a little puffer jacket for your feet, except it looks like a super stylish sneaker.
Introducing new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins, the latest comfort creation from Skechers. You can find Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Brian Tripp and Dave Starman here at our Grainger broadcast booth in St. Louis. Shireen Sasky is ringside. Stay on top of your game with Grainger. Get industrial-grade productions right when you need them to help your business move forward when you call 1-800-GRAINGER or click Grainger.com. Western Michigan in its first ever Frozen Four, taking on conference rival Denver, leading 2-1 with 4:40 to go here in the third. Expect anything different? This is the fourth meeting between these two teams this year. All three have been decided by one goal. One of those went to overtime, another double overtime just a couple of weeks ago. Denver has its top unit out there with Polkamp and Buyam on D. It's Buyam taking the pass up the near wing and then chips it deep into the Western Michigan zone to our left. Zach Sharp retrieves inside his own territory for the Broncos. Back up the boards and out to center. Bank near wing to the Denver line. Buyam stands up Tim Washi there, who does guide it deep into Denver territory. Pioneers with the puck. Quickly out of their own zone. King through center. He's closed off by Owen Michaels with the back check. Right now, Michaels' second period goal would stand as the game winner if Western Michigan can hang on to this 2-1 lead. Under 4 minutes to play here in the national semifinals. Denver nearly gets the steal at center ice. Great play by Reeder to step up, but Western Michigan recovers the puck and dumps it in deep to the Denver zone. Pioneers from right to left, out through the neutral zone. Samu Salmonen backhands it down into Western Michigan territory. Reeled in behind the goal, taken by Western Michigan. Kramer off into the near corner. Krusberg-Rosine out to center. Finds Michaels. Far wing feed bump. Gets a stride on the defense. Tries to work his way around Brown, but he's closed off back behind the net for Denver. He got the pass back. Centers for Slukinski out front. It's loose in the low slot. A scramble in front of the goal crease. And Brown takes it out of harm's way for Denver. Tries to lob it through center. Grabbed by Western Michigan and dumped back in with 3:10 to go here in the third.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're Boston University or Penn State, and you're looking at what Western Michigan did basically for 42 minutes, you're a little worried. But now you're also seeing some of the holes that can be exposed in Western Michigan, as Denver's been pretty good in the last 4 or 5 minutes.
And now under 3 minutes to play here in the national semifinals. Western Michigan leads it 2-1. Looking to go to their first ever national championship game. Can they dethrone the champs? Buyam dances up the near boards, fires it off the outside of the goal from along the near dasher. Back into the deep slot. A wide-handed drive. Polkamp, save, scramble, score! Denver ties it in a net mount scramble. 2-2 with 2:39 to go. The Pioneers with the heart of a champion.
I got to tell you, I'm not so sure this one stands. That was a big collision in front of the net, and I think they're going to take a look at this one before they even announce anything. We're waiting to see what they're going to do, and now I'm starting to see the referees heading towards the penalty box. Now they're not. They're heading over towards the Western bench. Pat Ferschweiler wants a word. Shot came from way outside. Slukinski couldn't handle it clean. Where I think Denver contests this is Western contests this is one of Denver's players right in front of the net. As Slukinski was trying to play the rebound, got their skate
Western
into
Michigan
the pads.
is challenging the goal for goaltender interference.
And that's what they're going to challenge.
Yeah, it was Rieger Lorenz there at the net front, both he and Jared Wright were there. It was right in the goaltender, and then Lorenz had that follow-up try. And that line you talked so much about, that was the line that was critical last year in winning the national title. But he was the player who ended up having the last touch on the puck that went across the goal line.
It all started, though, with a big blast from the point, and the key to the shot was it was in a spot where it handcuffed Hampton Slukinski. He couldn't control the rebound. It was a shot up high, hit him in the shoulder. But what they're looking at is whether or not in the goaltender's natural ability to play the puck inside the crease area was the Denver player who was not pushed in. That much I can tell you. Lorenz in front of the net. The shot comes in. It hits Slukinski. He's just on top of the red line at the top of the crease. Can the determination be made that Jared Wright was the guy who was interfering with Slukinski's ability to play the puck, or is it a hockey play where two players have equal opportunity to play a loose puck and physical contact happen? I got to tell you, looking at this replay, and generally I've gotten a lot of these right lately, looking at this replay, I think this stands.
So we shall see. It's a long deliberation from this Hockey East crew. Jeremy Tufts and Jeff Miller, they're down in the penalty box on the near side of the ice. All of the Denver fans are on their feet, pointing at center ice, yelling, "Goal, goal, goal." And so much anticipation. You just see both teams huddled on their benches, looking on as if it stands, it's a 2-2 game with 2:39 to play here in the national semifinal, and Denver would have erased a 2-0 deficit. If it is disallowed, Western Michigan 2:39 away from upsetting Denver. I know they're the number one seed, Western Michigan, but from upsetting Denver and going to its first national championship game.
See, here's where I would disagree with that. Western beating Denver would not be an upset. What we've learned in the Nacho, anybody beating anybody, it's not an upset. It's a good conference, and Western Michigan is a really good team. Now, Western's lost to Michigan. Western's lost to Michigan State. Western's lost to Boston College. But they have gone toe-to-toe with the two best teams in the NCHC this year, or two of the best teams outside of them in the NCHC being teams like Denver, teams like Arizona State. I mean, Western's a beast, and they may be the favored team here versus the team that's the underdog against Denver, in my opinion. And I haven't been shy to say it.
Denver 17-3 in its last 20 NCAA tournament games, though, Dave. What does that experience mean? What did they lean on here down the stretch if this stands? And they're still looking at it. I'm not sure, do you have a feeling either way, the longer it goes, who does it benefit? But what did Denver lean on here from that experience and all that success in the tournament to rally here?
First of all, they just kept going, and they kept going forward. Second of all, they changed their forecheck up. They started to push two up as opposed to letting Western skate to them. And they took away a lot of Western's lanes. Here comes the call.
Yeah, this is as big of a call as there is.
After video review, the call on the ice stands. We have a good goal.
So how about that? Are you surprised at all by the call?
No, I said it. I told you during the replay. I said, just looking at it, it looked to me like two players with a 50-50 chance to corral a loose puck in an area that does not belong to the goaltender. Once the puck hits Slukinski, it's a free puck, and it's anybody's puck. If the puck is still on Slukinski's body, different story. But once the puck touches the ice, it becomes a 50-50 puck.
The last game between these two teams in the NCHC championship, Western Michigan rallied from down 3-0 in the third and won it 4-3 in double overtime. Here tonight, Denver rallies from down 2-0, ties it at 2 with 2:30 to play. Here in the third period of the national semifinals, and the Pioneers now looking for the winner. Out to center, though, it's Michaels for Western Michigan. Banks it up the near boards, left to right down into the Denver zone. Davis has trouble with the puck, but guides it out of harm's way. First time in an NCAA tournament, by the way, that Davis has allowed multiple goals in this game. He kept his team in it. Thompson into the attacking zone for Denver. Peels out wide. He'll slide it down low for the Pioneers. They have their top line out there. Devine is out front. King tied up behind the goal. Western Michigan controls. 2 minutes left here in the third. In a tie game at 2. Bumped into the attacking zone. Hands far circle. A sharp angle shot goes off the back of the goal cage. Kruzberg-Rosine in from the line. He's tied up by Devine. Western Michigan attacks to a right. He muscles it free. Zach Nearing pinned behind the goal. He extracts the puck. Nearing centers off a stick. He had Valente driving the net, and now Denver races from right to left up the far wing. Into the attacking zone. Harris is closed off, and Western Michigan relieves pressure, chipping it back out to center before it slid right back down into the Broncos zone.
I got to say, the Broncos have had 4 or 5 changes this period, which have been awful.
Salmonen ties it up along the near board, supported by Harris. Back to the line, skips off Ashcroft, back out to neutral. He'll drill it back in with 80 seconds to play here in the third period. The national semifinal tied at 2 between Western Michigan and Denver. Denver has the puck at its own line, whacked out to center into the attacking zone. Between the circles, Reeder a shot, saves Lukinski off his right pad into the near circle. And now Western Michigan transitions back the other way. Nearing, flutters it off the stick, does not get the puck deep as Western Michigan is changing into the attacking zone. Lawrence, who has the tying goal here late in this third. Down to 50 seconds left in the third in a tie game. Denver has the puck deep inside the Broncos zone. Western Michigan emerges with the puck, but time and space closed off in the near corner.
Referee got in the way.
Come up with the puck along the near boards. Try to go back to the line, sits atop the near circle, into the slot, a shot that just softly makes its way into the leg pads of the waiting goaltender, Hampton Slukinski, the 19-year-old with a butterfly stop. Then he collars in the rebound to stop play. 2-2 with 34 seconds left.
I would tell you this, Matt Davis is obviously the experienced guy who's been through these before. Hampton Slukinski is no babe in the woods. He's been a World Junior goaltender who won a couple of big games for the U.S. He's played in the World Under-18s, played in the National Team Development Program. He's played against NCAA competitions even before he got to school. I mean, this is a guy that's not afraid of a big moment.
Well, the face-off in his zone here. Washi takes it for Western Michigan. King won it for Denver. Denver with the puck. Booyam darts into the far circle, throws it off the body aside the goal. King rescues for the Pioneers. King surveys, 25 seconds left, looking for a win here at the wire. Smack deep into the Western Michigan zone. Behind the goal, it's Thompson. Peels out, centers off a stick. It gets through the net crease. Back into the near circle, a shot by Devine, who just snaps it on from outside the ring, and it's gloved by Slukinski out to his right, and he'll snare it chest high and stop play. 13 seconds left here in the national semifinal. 2-2. Denver rallies with 2 goals here in the third to knock this thing up.
And Aiden Thompson is the X factor right now. I think Denver's going to call timeout. Let's see who did the timeout.
Timeout, Denver.
Yeah, I would have called timeout if I had the offensive zone draw myself. Aiden Thompson is a guy that can absolutely blow this game apart. He, to me, is the X factor right now. This guy has scored more big goals and made more big plays and big moments than I can remember during his career as a Pioneer. So obviously he is a factor in this offensive zone draw. The faceoff is going to be to the left side, or to the right side of the goaltender. So it's a right wing faceoff for Western Michigan. For Denver, you talk about guys that can win draws. I mean, they got a whole boatload of them. Capone, Salmon, and King, Severino, everybody's been over 50% through the course of the year. The guy that has taken the most offensive zone draws has been King, and he has taken 445 of them, and he is over 50%.
What a comeback here by Denver. They were being outshot 32-8 through the first 2 periods, outshooting Western Michigan 9-4 here in the third, and the 2 goals to rally and tie it here in this third.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it early in the second period. I said, or late in the second period, we said this looks a lot like the Minnesota State game where Denver didn't have anything going. In the third period, they came out and turned the game on its head, and they did it again.
And it will be that same line out there for the Pioneers. Carter King takes the face-off for Denver opposite Tim Washi from Western Michigan. 2-2 game, 13 seconds to play. Denver won the draw. It's tied up atop the near circle. Grabbed by Western Michigan and flung through center. Race for the puck into the attacking zone. Michaels out of the corner, tries to center, but it was closed off by Polkamp. Race back. Michaels, a sharp angle shot, missed the target. The clock is at 1, and we're going to overtime here at the Frozen Four. Denver and Western Michigan, for the third time in 4 meetings this year, needing extra hockey to decide who goes to the national championship.
Denver is just that type of team. We always say they're handsy. They're just one of those teams that can do the little things that can turn a game around quickly. There was some panic in Denver's game as they got to period number 3. On the other hand, I thought Western Michigan was uncharacteristically sloppy in their own end, and their puck management was not very good, and it potentially could cost them a trip to the national title game because of it.
This is now the 5th overtime game of this year's NCAA tournament, equalizing the most ever. 2011 and 2024, just a year ago, had 5 overtime games. It is also now the 6th consecutive Frozen Four to feature an overtime game. So we're all tied up after 3 periods. The score, Western Michigan 2 and Denver 2. Coming up during intermission, Brad Heller rejoins us from the studios from the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network. This is the Frozen Four.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Are you seeking to honor those who've served and sacrificed for their country? Visit the Veterans Legacy Memorial.